intelligence, espionage, and foreign services. So I think they definitely didn't diminish their activities in these areas. Just the opposite, they increased their activities.
Thank you for listening to the interview from the BBC World Service. You'll find more in-depth conversations on the interview wherever you get your BBC podcasts, including episodes with the Colombian artist Doris Salcedo, Belarusian opposition activist Sergei Tikhanovsky, and Yoshua Bengio, one of the godfathers of AI. Until the next time, bye for now.
From the BBC, that was the interview. I'm Saroja Coelho. CBC News is next.
Good morning, Manitoba. It's Tuesday, August 5th. You're listening to Information Radio on CBC Radio 1. I'm Chloe Friesen, filling in for Marcy Marcusa. Let's say hello to our team this morning. Abby Adiemi, our technical producer. Good morning. Sierra Sanders is our show director this morning, and Brad Lillies is our YouTube live stream producer. And, of course, Heather Wells is here with news headlines. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, wildfire evacuees say Winnipeg's congregate shelter is getting too crowded. Nisitcherwasik Cree Nation is expecting most of its residents to end up at RBC Convention Centre. Nicole Wood-Hart says staying at that shelter is getting harder, especially for young children. She says it's cold and no one has come to speak with them or to offer help. We'll hear more from her coming up. Clothing retailer YM is set to take over 5 former Saks Off Fifth stores in Canada, including one in Winnipeg. The deal, worth $5 million, includes the now empty space at the Outlet Mall at Seasons of Tuxedo in southwest Winnipeg. Neither the company nor the Outlet Mall is saying exactly how that empty space is going to be used. More Manitoba News coming up at 6:30.
Thank you very much, Heather.
Thank you.
Coming up today on the show, kids cover your ears. We're talking back to school. We're going to break down the must-have tech for back to school season and how to make sure you're getting the best bang for your buck. As well, the Winnipeg Humane Society has had an influx of cats and kittens come into their care. We're talking over 500 felines surrendered in the month of July. We'll talk to them about how Winnipeggers can help and possibly bring a cat or two home. And just after 8, the music and arts community rallied to support the friends, family, and bandmates of Royal Canoe bassist Brendan Berg and his partner Olivia Michaelchuk after they died following a highway collision early last month. Bucky Dreger of Royal Canoe will join us to share stories, music, and a simple way Winnipeggers can pay tribute to the 2 community members. Those stories and much more coming up on Information Radio. Sitting at 18 degrees right now at the Forks. In Brandon, currently 19 and cloudy. And in Thompson, 18 degrees. We do have a few air quality warnings in effect for northern and central Manitoba. We'll bring you all of those details as the show begins in about 10 minutes.
Today on Q.
I'm Garvey Bailey, sitting in for Tom Power. Juno award-winning DJ and producer Bambi is known for the way she melds electronic music with her Caribbean roots. She'll be here to tell us her story and share some new music.
Q, this morning at 10:30 in Newfoundland, and on the CBC Listen app, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is World Report. Good morning, I'm Sam Sampson. Finance Minister Francois-Philippe Champagne and Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand are heading to Mexico City. They will spend today and tomorrow focused on improving Canada's economic partnership with Mexico at a time when both countries are locked in tense trade negotiations with U.S. President Donald Trump. Mexico has won a short reprieve from new U.S. tariffs, but Canada and many other countries have not. And it appears those tariffs are starting to affect U.S. businesses and consumers. As Mike Crawley reports from Washington, the effects can be seen from corporate headquarters to the local cafe.
Roughly 1/3 of all coffee imports to the U.S. comes from Brazil. So U.S. President Donald Trump's threat to impose 50% tariffs on that country's products as coffee shop owners like John Kinnard wondering if they'll need to hike prices.
A typical coffee shop margin is only about 5%. And now with this, we're going to have to get really creative.
It's just one way Trump's tariffs are beginning to bite here in the U.S. Companies from tech giant Apple to tool makers Stanley Black & Decker say they expect tariff costs this year in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Manufacturers of everything from shampoos to shoes are raising prices, and the latest stats on jobs and inflation are showing the effects. Still, Trump's view of the tariffs remains rosy.
We have a lot of money coming in, hundreds of billions of dollars.
I just don't think most people are going to be fooled by that.
Alex Durante is senior economist at the Tax Foundation, a policy think tank in Washington.
I think the administration is going to have a really hard time trying to convince the American people that some of the price increases they're seeing are because of other factors not related to the tariffs.
Trump's tariffs on imports from dozens of countries are due to rise this week from their current baseline of 10%. Unless businesses swallow all the extra costs, American consumers can expect price hikes to spread. Mike Crawley, CBC News, Washington.
In Brazil, supporters of Jair Bolsonaro are showing their support for the former president. They rallied outside his home last night, shouting, "Brazil will stop," after a Supreme Court judge placed Bolsonaro under house arrest. Bolsonaro is on trial, facing charges that he conspired with dozens of allies to overturn his 2022 electoral loss. The judge says he has not complied with a restraining order imposed on him last month when he was deemed a flight risk. That judge has been sanctioned by the Trump administration. The U.S. president calls Bolsonaro's trial a witch hunt. Now, Trump's political opponents could soon be the subject of a federal investigation. His attorney general, Pam Bondi, has ordered justice officials to probe an earlier investigation, one done by Obama-era officials during the 2016 presidential election when there were allegations Russia interfered in the campaign to help Trump. Tom Perry is following the story from Washington. Tom, what do we know about this new investigation ordered by Trump's attorney general?
She's reportedly directed the Justice Department to begin legal proceedings and ordered a federal prosecutor to present evidence to a grand jury. Right now, though, it's unclear what charges this could lead to and who could face them. This, of course, comes after Donald Trump's Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, released a report last month. She alleged that intelligence about Russian meddling in the 2016 election had been politicized by former President Barack Obama. She accused Obama and his national security team of a years-long coup against Trump. Here's some of what Gabbard said at the time.
There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false.
Donald Trump, of course, went even further. He accused Obama of treason. Obama's office issued a response calling those allegations outrageous and bizarre, and Democrats point out that a bipartisan Senate investigation concluded that Russia did try to influence the 2016 U.S. vote.
But why is this happening now?
Russia's involvement in the 2016 election has always been a sore spot for Donald Trump. He's always called it a hoax that was cooked up to smear him, but this push on Russia also comes at a time when Trump is facing continuing questions about his relationship with the notorious sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and his administration's refusal to release evidence related to that case.
Tom Perry reporting from Washington. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Residents in Newfoundland's Conception Bay North area are evacuating their homes again. A wildfire that started Sunday afternoon is still burning out of control, and the flames could be fanned by gusting winds today. One mayor in the area thinks there's something unusual about the timing of these recent fires. As Laura Howells reports, that has people on edge.
They're highly suspicious. I'll put it that way.
Curtis Delaney is the mayor of Small Point, Adams Cove, Blackhead, Broad Cove. He says there's been at least 9 fires in the area in the last few months, including one in May that destroyed 12 homes.
If you stack them up side by side, they're all almost cookie cutter. So that's what makes them definitely suspicious. And the area, I mean, it's confined within our town for the most part.
The repeat fires have residents like Marie Kennel worried and scared.
One after another, I mean, it's just happening. And No one knows nothing. No one knows who's doing it or what's on the go.
Kennel was preparing food for firefighters and community members before the evacuation notice. She doesn't know what's causing the fires, but
if there's someone starting them, I think they should be caught by now.
Provincial Forestry Minister Lisa Dempster says the potential for arson is concerning, and they're looking at doing enhanced patrols. CBC asked the RCMP about suspicions of arson. Our questions weren't answered, but a statement said it's investigating the fire's cause in cooperation with the province. Meanwhile, water bombers and helicopters have been tackling the blaze. People were told yesterday to prepare for at least 72 hours of food, water, and other essentials. Laura Howells, CBC News, Broadcove.
The Wesley Ridge wildfire on Vancouver Island is still out of control. BC fire officials have now declared it a fire of note, meaning it is highly visible or poses a significant threat to public safety or infrastructure. Madison Dahl is with the BC Wildfire Service.
It was not made a wildfire of note earlier because we felt that people were getting accurate and updated information, but there are a lot of people in the area who may need some guidance.
About 160 firefighters are battling the fire. It is now more than 5 square kilometers in size. It's been a dry, hot summer across much of the country, and eastern Ontario has not been spared. Farmers say crop yields are down and they need rainfall to rebound. The CBC's Isabel Harder reports.
This is it. That's it? Okay. Farmers market stalls like this one in Ottawa are a little emptier this year. A lack of significant rainfall in the last month has left eastern Ontario farmers struggling.
Last few weeks have been very dry.
Dan Christolaitis' farm, about 50 kilometers south of Ottawa, would be in the thick of tomato harvest around this time.
We've only harvested 6 pints this past week out of the 300 cherry tomato plants we have.
Environment Canada says rainfall in July was half the seasonal average for the area, and that's left farmers making tough decisions. Brandy Jackson owns Fly Creek Farm, about 100 kilometers south of Ottawa.
It's kind of picking the ones that are the most important and leaving the other ones just to succumb.
It's a choice farmers across the country have had to grapple with. Prairie farms have been experiencing annual droughts, and much of Agriculture Canada's drought monitor shows the country is drier than normal. In eastern Ontario, several conservation authorities and rural municipalities have issued advisories, urging residents to conserve water because it could become an issue. But as the season progresses, Christolaitis says there's not much else he can do.
As a farmer, and you just kind of carry on and roll with the punches.
There are only a few scattered showers forecasted in the area this week, and according to Agriculture Canada's drought outlook, things will get worse before they get better. Isabel Harder, CBC News, Ottawa.
Today, the World Report team is remembering our colleague, Joan Leechman. She died suddenly this past weekend. For years, Joan helped us bring the world to you. She worked with us in Toronto, but filed stories about South and Central America and Africa. They were stories she thought were too important to miss. Before she worked at World Report, Joan was the Latin American bureau chief for CBC Television, and she opened CBC Radio's first bureau in Africa, where she covered the Rwandan genocide and South Africa's violent transition from apartheid. In recent years, Joan opened her Toronto home to give shelter to refugees, and she reminded us all, you don't have to be heartless to bear witness to the hard parts of history. That is your latest national and international news from World Report. I'm Sam Sampson. This is CBC News.
Good morning, Manitoba. I'm Chloe Friesen, filling in this morning for Marcy Marcusa. You're listening to Information Radio on CBC Radio 1. 89.3 FM, 990 AM on YouTube or anywhere on your CBC Listen app. Coming up on the show, we'll go to Ottawa and check in with Sarah Ritchie, a reporter covering federal politics for the Canadian Press. She'll give us her thoughts on the next steps in trade talks with the U.S. and the life of an MP over the summer. As well, we'll discover the must-have tech for this school year and how to keep your budget in check. But first, a Winnipeg business owner had 3 of his portable sauna units Stolen on Friday. The security footage shows people towing his units away within a number of hours. We'll hear his story. Stay with us. Time now for news headlines with Heather Wells. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, Nisitchawaisak Cree Nation evacuees say there's not enough room for all of them at Winnipeg's RBC Convention Centre. More than 1,500 people were forced out over the long weekend with nearby wildfires threatening the only road to the community. Nicole Woodhart is staying at the congregate shelter set up at the convention centre, and she says it is too crowded and is getting unsafe for her kids. A man whose bike was stolen is having a hard time getting it back, even though it has an air tracker. Louis has watched his bicycle travel all over downtown Winnipeg using his Find My app. His app says the bike's sitting at a hotel on Main Street, but he doesn't think it's safe to get it on his own. Police say they are investigating, but do not recommend people try to recover stolen property themselves. We'll hear more on that story coming up in our next local news at 6:30.
Thank you very much, Heather.
Thank you.
That is CBC's Heather Wells. Hello and good morning to the team on Information Radio. Abby Adiemi, our technical producer, also keeping an eye on the forecast. Good morning.
Good morning, Chloe. How are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent. How's that long weekend for you?
It was beautiful. A lot of rest and a bit of family time, but it was more about the rest this weekend. I was like, I didn't really want to do a lot of people in, so I'm just going to recharge.
So, okay, Abby is fully recharged. Get ready, everyone.
But the concern today is smoke and heat. That's the big story across the province today, especially in the northern part of the province where we have the wildfire, smoke and poor air quality, which is remaining a serious concern for a lot of people. Now, looking at conditions from the south all the way up north, we're going to see a mix of sun and clouds today, hot temperatures and hazy conditions in some areas. We do have air quality warnings in effect for much of, let's talk about from the central part of the province all the way up north to York. That thick wildfire smoke really affecting the regions. We're talking about flame-flung surrounding areas, tracking it into Thompson, Gillam, Norway House, even Churchill and beyond Churchill. We have smoke in that part of the province today, and this will be causing poor air quality and low visibility in a lot of areas. So I'd advise you, if you have breathing issues, try to limit your time outside, because even people with good health will still be experiencing this smoke impacting them. Then we come to the eastern part of the province where we also have special air quality statement for places like Bissett, Victoria Beach, all the way down to Pine Falls. Conditions can change quickly, so you need to look out for smoke also in that part of the province. Now, let's talk about Winnipeg. 17 degrees right now, partly cloudy skies. We're seeing just light breeze coming from the southeast this morning. Today, Winnipeg and the rest of the Red River Valley region will experience a kind of warm mix of sun and clouds. Temperatures will climb to 27 degrees, just 27 degrees. But wait for it, it's going to feel like 33, 34. So it's going to be muggy because of the humidity that we will be feeling today. And then the clouds will increase as we get towards the evening period, and we should be expecting showers in this part of the province, and it might come with some thunderstorms. And when we kind of do some measurements after the rain pours, we're going to be seeing about 5 millimeters of rain into tomorrow morning, so expect that. This shower would linger into tomorrow morning, and across the southern part of the province we're seeing 14 to 19 degrees already. Up north we're seeing 20 degrees in the northern part of the province, so it's really warming up, and it's smoky there, so take care. Winnipeg right now we are at 17. We're going to warm up to 27, but it's going to be a muggy day, so prepare for that.
All right. Thank you, Abby.
Thank you.
That is Abby Adiemi. Sierra Sanders joins me now. Sierra, also recharged.
I hope.
After a lovely long weekend.
Yeah, I feel recharged, ready to take on the 3:30 a.m. wake-ups again for another week.
And oftentimes you need a little inspiration
to
do that. And we'll let you into a little kind of office, not a secret, but a little tradition I have.
Yeah.
I have this pack of cards. Each card has a frog on it, and a little inspirational message. So today, I don't know if we're going to be able to get this on camera. Here, where's my frog card? So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see my frog card. Today, it's a little frog. He's riding a scooter, and it says, "I trust myself."
And we are trusting ourselves today.
And so we are trusting ourselves this morning to have a lovely information radio experience with you all.
Exactly.
Just like a little frog on a scooter.
Exactly. And I trust that the folks out there will have an easy commute this morning, whether you are on a scooter, whether you are walking, whether you are biking, whether you are driving. And if you're here in the city or you're out on the highways, I would love to hear about your hopefully trustful commute. And if it's not going the way that you were hoping, that's okay. But I would love to know about it so I can let your fellow commuters know. So whether you are here in the city or out on the highways, I'd love to hear if there's anything slowing you down out there. You can give me a call on the CBC commuter line. That number is 204-788-3093.
Well, continuing to bring you updates on a story we mentioned yesterday in news headlines, a local business owner is devastated after 3 of his portable sauna units were stolen last week. The saunas, which are mounted on wheels, were parked on Archibald Street, where he's parked them for the past few years. He said his security cameras picked up footage of a truck towing all 3 away within hours. CBC's Gavin Axelrod spoke to Amir Hamed about the theft. Here's what he had to say.
August 1st, starting at 10 p.m., one of them was stolen. The thieves were brave enough to come back for the other 2, so we have 3 in total that are stolen, right out of our Kid City parking lot. We also own Kid City, and so we had them parked there for the last 2 years, and I guess August 1st was the first time they stole them.
When did you find out that they had been stolen?
Yesterday morning, my wife went into Kid City, and she's like, there's nothing there. And then we looked at the footage, and sure enough, 3 were taken.
When you saw that footage, what kind of went through your head? How are you feeling?
I was just kind of numb to it at first, and was just trying to see who it was, look at the footage, trying to go to other businesses, and when I had time, when I came home and to sit down and think about it, it really kicked in.
What was that like when it started kicking in?
It's devastating. It sucks, obviously, but you know what? I felt a lot better just because of the outreach and the pouring that the community has had.
How much would it cost to build something like that?
So this a unit with a trailer, brand new, with the ones like the same features and everything, that thing goes about 30 grand plus taxes, a brand new. So, they're not cheap. Ours were a couple of years old, so I would say roughly between 25,000 times 3, so you're looking at about 75 grand.
So I was going to ask you, if you can't rent out those 3 units, how much money do you stand to lose?
Luckily right now it's summer. I mean, on average they've been going out 2 to 3 of them a weekend. Like we have 2 out right now. You're looking at about $1,500 to $2,000 a month. I hope we can get them back before September, because September up until June really ramps up with our rental business. We dedicated 1 unit exactly like this one at the Assiniboine Park, so that means we have 4 units for rental and Assiniboine. So I just hope we can get it before then, or get compensated for them, because it will hurt our business during colder months.
If you don't have all 3 back by September in the peak season, how much money do you stand to lose?
It would be roughly about $3,000 to $3,500 for those 3 units a weekend. I mean, December and New Year's, it's every day. Like we are slammed from December 1st all the way to end of January. It depends on how cold it is. And then typically we have people on a waiting list even. Like last year we had 14, the year before was 8 people. So demand is there. We could probably have another unit, a couple more units to rent out.
In that peak season, if you don't get these 3 back, will you have to cancel some of those bookings? Or?
Yeah, I mean, they're very unique. It's not like I could reach out to anybody I mean, there is some people that have a couple of units that are smaller, and they have offered it to us to use while we're, looking for ours. But it would hurt our business quite a bit not having those 3 for sure.
What have you heard from police here in the city?
We haven't heard too much. I mean, we only filed a police report yesterday. We are trying to gather information and send to them as much as possible. We do believe I actually saw that same truck on July 19th at a 7-Eleven on Killarney with my friends who owns Be Together Bikes. I saw his bike in the back of that same truck. I had the pictures, and I was just looking and seeing, and sure enough, it's the exact same truck that stole ours on August 1st. with a different plate. So there's a connection. There seems to be a crew that goes around these and is picking up assets from businesses. So we have informed the police, and we'll see what we hear back.
Amir Hamed is the owner of a Winnipeg sauna company that had 3 of their portable sauna units stolen last week. He was speaking with CBC's Gavin Axelrod.
We carry a world of information in our pockets because we want to know. Breaking news that shapes our world. Staying on top of stories around the globe. And connected close to home. It's news you can trust. Delivered when you want and where you want on Canada's News app. Now with CBC Radio 1, local and live. Download the CBC News app for free.
You're listening to Information Radio. The time is 6:21. I'm Chloe Friesen. As the school year approaches, many parents are faced with a shopping list that's likely full of gadgets and gizmos, but with so many technology options on the market, it's tough to know where to start. Do kids really need a brand new laptop or tablet? And how can you make sure you're getting the best deal without breaking the bank? Shruti Shekhar joins us this morning for her insights. She's the editor-in-chief at Android Central, an online tech publication. Welcome to the show, Shruti.
Good morning, Chloe.
So how do parents know what their kids actually need for school, or if they can make do without? Because I'm sure it's really fun to be like, oh, Mom, I need a new tablet.
Yeah, no, 100%. Or I need the latest iPhone, please. I need it. Yeah, no, I fully think that's a great question. Okay, so first of all, if you're a parent and your kid is starting to ask you for a device of any sort, I think the question you need to be asking yourself is that what is the right age that they should be getting these devices? And I think the right age is when they start doing certain things independently and require some form of communication with your parent. So if they're walking to the school bus on their own, or if they're walking to school on their own, that I think is a good time to start thinking about, should my kid have some form of phone or a communication device? So when it comes to phones, no, I do not think you need the latest device, or even laptops. You do not need the latest device. With phones, a lot of these phones have so many of the similar, capabilities and features of older generations. So I think, even going as far back as like 3 generations behind will still be good. And at the same time, a lot of these companies put out a quote unquote light version of their phone, which essentially is a much cheaper device and has less of those, pro features that not everyone really needs. That's a great option as well. Like Google will do like an A series, Samsung does the A series. Again, iPhone will do like their base phone. But again, you don't need to get the latest one. You can get one that's 2-3 years old. I think that's great. Same thing with laptops, right? Like having some kind of note-taking device is really important, because more schools these days are, opting for online submissions of things. So I think having a laptop or a tablet is great. Again, you don't need the latest one. I literally did a Google search, and a great HP or a Dell laptop can be under $200. Yes, it's still expensive, but a laptop is not something that you need to replace every single year. It's something that you buy once, and you keep it for at least 5 to 7 years, right? So definitely those are the 2 most important devices, in my opinion.
So when it comes to buying those devices, what should parents consider? Should they focus on price, durability, or performance?
Okay, so first and foremost, it's always going to be price. And the reason why I say price is because these devices are not getting cheaper anytime soon. So making sure that you are sticking to your budget is always the number one thing I will say. Looking for deals online, looking at red flag deals, Facebook Marketplace, Kijiji, even going on Camel, which is a website that monitors price changes on Amazon, is a great thing to do. But then after you decided what your budget is, looking at durability, battery life, and connectivity to the internet are certain things that I would start considering. When you're buying a laptop, for example, you're not going to be buying something every year, like I mentioned. So something that's a little bit pricier but has a good durability to it might be good, because then it can last a little longer. And then finally, like if you're a university student, if you're going back to university and you're specializing in something, specific, like audio engineering or whatever it may be, you might want to consider getting a laptop that has some of those features that allows you to, do editing or whatever it may be. But again, those are considerations that you would do if you're going, for university or something that's later, that's not necessarily high school.
Are there any affordable tech options for students that will still meet the demands of schoolwork?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, go just even search online, HP, Dell, Samsung, Google, all of these companies put out great options. The other thing I will also say is I think a lot of people overlook this, is a lot of the times your high school ID or your student ID for university acts like a discount code. So you can actually just go to your sales associate and say, hey, do you have any student discounts? I have my ID. Will that work? And that actually acts like a little bit of a percentage of a discount. And a lot of the times these companies will also tend to bulk things together. So if you're a student and you want to get a cell phone, they might say, oh, we can get you a laptop for a cheaper price. Like there are ways of bundling items and getting things for cheaper. It's just a matter of looking around for it.
In your opinion, Shruti, are there any essential accessories or apps that students should have to get the most out of their device if they're using it for schoolwork?
Yes. So I think having a good pair of headphones is really critical. I mean, that's a lot of people might say, oh, that doesn't make sense, but it's actually so critical. It's great for focus. It's great for paying attention to your lectures, whatever it may be. And then the second thing I think a lot of people overlook is a good chair, especially if your student is going to high school or even if you're in university. Having a good chair is great, because you're going to be spending so much time at your desk, doing homework and research. So having a good back support or a good posture is really critical. And then an app that I honestly wish I had this app in high school or in university. It's an app that I think there are probably other apps that are similar to it, but it's called Otter.ai. And it's essentially like a live transcribing tool. So as you're in your lecture or your group setting, you can transcribe it. And then once it's done transcribing, it will organize everything for you with analysis, or it'll give you the main points of the conversation, who the main speakers were. And honestly, I wish I had that, because that would make my life so much easier.
That sounds amazing.
I'm telling you, it's super cool.
And speaking of chair, I think about we had what we called the computer chair in our family.
Yes.
That thing was so old, and eventually we would just start stacking pillows on it to make it just durable enough for a long computer homework session. So the chair is something unexpected that I really appreciate.
Yes, 100%. Because I remember that too. I mean, I had dinky chairs, and I was just and then now I finally have a good chair because I work at my desk, and it makes a huge difference. It really does.
For sure. Shruti, thank you for joining us this morning. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Shruti Shaker is the editor-in-chief at Android Central, an online tech publication.
As wildfires impact our province, keep up to date with CBC. For the latest information, listen to CBC Radio 1. Visit cbc.ca/Manitoba or the CBC News app. For people who have a limited data plan or are running into spotty mobile service on the road, visit cbc.ca/lite. That's cbc.ca/LITE.
Modern Family's Phil Dunphy is one of TV's funniest dads.
Because there is no Dunn in Dunphy.
But before landing the role, actor Ty Burrell was rejected by Hollywood for 20 straight years. Then, the phone rang.
Quick, what's my favorite hospital food? Jell-O.
Rejecting Ty Burrell. From the creators of Under the Influence comes We Regret to Inform You. Wednesday morning at 11:30, 3:30 p.m. in Newfoundland. And on CBC Listen.
Coming up on Information Radio, just after your CBC local news, we will head to our CBC Biz desk. We will learn more about two of our country's most senior ministers. They're heading to Mexico to discuss trade. We're going to get all the details coming up just after your CBC local news.
This is CBC News. Good morning. I'm Heather Wells in Winnipeg. At 6:30, it is 18 degrees. If you liked yesterday, today's going to be much the same. Mix of sun and clouds, a bit of a southeast wind, a high of 27 with a humidex of 33, and showers move in tonight. Nisichawashik Cree Nation evacuees say there isn't enough room for all of them at Winnipeg's RBC Convention Centre. More than 1,500 people were forced out over the long weekend, with nearby wildfires threatening the only road to the community. Nicole Wood-Hart is staying at the congregate shelter set up at the convention centre. She says it is getting too crowded and unsafe for her children.
We need more space. We need a lot of space. There's a lot of us. There's a lot of us that have big families. We all have lots of kids, and it's very cold in there. Like, it's not right. I don't think it's right the way they're treating us.
More than 2,000 people are still waiting to leave Nisichawashik. The Red Cross says it is working with Indigenous Services Canada to support evacuees. A man whose bicycle was stolen is having a hard time getting it back, even though it has an air tracker. Louis has watched his bicycle travel all over downtown Winnipeg by using his Find My app. CBC News has agreed not to share his last name because his bike was stolen near his child's daycare and he is concerned for his family's safety. He's tried to find it himself and has reported it to police, but Louis would like to see police help him recover his wheels.
They're probably busy with bigger things than a $400 and $500 bike. I understand like one individual bike is not something that they should be pursuing, I guess, but at the same time, like I'm having to put myself in danger.
Louis' app says his bike is sitting at a hotel on Main Street, but he doesn't think it's safe to get on his own. Winnipeg police say the theft has been assigned to the Property Crimes Unit, and officers do not recommend people try to recover stolen property on their own. 3 people were taken to hospital after a multi-vehicle crash in the West End. Emergency crews were called to Ellis and Banning just before 9 yesterday morning. Police say 5 or 6 vehicles were involved in that crash. Initially, 2 people were taken to hospital unstable. 1 person was stable. Several others were seen by paramedics but didn't need hospitalization. That crash closed Ellis and Banning for several hours yesterday. On Vancouver Island, the BC Wildfire Service says the Wesley Ridge fire is now a wildfire of note. It is burning on the north side of Cameron Lake, northwest of Nanaimo. 134 fires are currently burning across BC, including one near Lytton. It has grown to more than 1,400 hectares. Evacuation orders are in place for 2 nearby First Nations. Meanwhile, to Newfoundland's Conception Bay North area, where people have been ordered to evacuate due to wildfire again, but one mayor in the area thinks something suspicious is going on. Curtis Delaney says there have been at least 9 fires in the area in the last few months.
If you stack them up side by side, they're all almost cookie cutter. So that's what makes them definitely suspicious. And the area, I mean, it's confined within our town for the most part.
The RCMP said in a statement they are investigating the cause of the fires in cooperation with the province. The Kingston fire started Sunday afternoon and still is burning out of control. You can hear the latest national and international news coming up on World Report at 7. Clothing retailer YM is set to take over 5 former Saks Off Fifth stores across the country, including one in Winnipeg. The deal, worth $5 million, includes the now empty space at the Outlet Mall at Seasons of Tuxedo in the southwest part of Winnipeg. Following the closure of Hudson's Bay stores in June, it is still unclear how other empty spaces left behind within malls will be filled. Retail Insider founder and publisher Craig Patterson says these spaces will likely be used in different ways.
I think we'll see landlords repurposing these boxes, whether or not they demolish them and put other uses in there, whether or not that's residential. I don't know if that would be as big in Manitoba, but nevertheless, I think we'll probably see mixed use in these spaces as landlords grapple with these vacancies.
YM owns brands like Urban Planet, Blue Note, West 49, and Susie Shear. Neither the company nor the Outlet Mall is saying exactly how the empty space will be used. Canada's last remaining player in this year's National Bank Open is advancing to the semifinals. Victoria Mboko winning her quarterfinal match last night in dominant fashion. The 18-year-old extending her incredible run in front of an elated home crowd in Montreal. Her next match is on Wednesday against a player from Kazakhstan. You can find the latest national and international news coming up on World Report, but stay in step with local news as well. Just head to cbc.ca/Manitoba.
Heather, I literally just saw Mboko, a clip of her winning that game, and she looks surprised.
You know, she has got the cutest expression, right,
Yes.
on her face.
She's just kind of shaking her head like, oh, okay.
That turned out to be easy.
I'm continuing. Yeah, she's so fun to watch.
Yeah, she's really, really good. I watched the whole match yesterday. It was amazing.
Ooh, okay, I have to tune in for this next one then.
You do. You'll love it.
Thank you, Heather.
You're welcome.
That is CBC's Heather Wells. I'm Chloe Friesen. You're listening to Information Radio. Abby Adiemi joins us now for a look at your weather forecast. And Abby, we could see a bit of precipitation today.
Rain definitely coming our way. But before that, we will be dealing with the smoke and the heat. Smoke will still be impacting much of the northern part of the province. We still have poor air quality in most of the northern areas, spreading all the way to Churchill and even the York region and beyond. So if you're having breathing or you're having issues breathing and the smoke is affecting you, try to spend less time outside and just try to relax as much as you can. We also have a special air quality statement in place in parts of eastern Manitoba. The smoke will be coming your way also, so I'd advise you try to avoid it because of the poor air quality coming that way. In the Red River Valley region, where we'll be seeing that smoke, the rain rather, 17 degrees right now, partly cloudy skies we're seeing. Yeah, the winds are calm for now. We're expecting a mix of sun and clouds and the southeast winds coming our way. It's going to be mild and gentle for now. The high would get to around 27 degrees, but with the humidity factored in, it's going to be feeling close to 33, 34. And then that rain we're talking about will be coming later in the evening period and into tomorrow morning. We should be seeing rain. Similar conditions we're seeing in the Pembina Valley region at this time. Modern Winkler and Morris all the way down to the U.S. border. We're seeing temperatures around 17 degrees. Also calm, cloudy start. It's going to turn to a mix of sun and clouds, and we'll see highs get close to 25. But the heat is going to make it feel like 30 degrees in that part of the province. We track conditions in the Westman region right now. Brandon all the way down to Riding Mountain. We're looking at temperatures hover between 19 and 21 degrees. Cloudy at this time. Mild east winds. The smoke is going to be coming to that part of the province later in the day. But for now, we don't see any warnings in that part of the province. We're seeing temperatures get close to 28 degrees. The humidity is going to make it feel like 32 today. Dauphin and surrounding areas, we're looking at 16 degrees. Some morning mist in that part of the province. Expect a mix of sun and clouds today. Winds will be coming from the southeast. Expect a high near 27, and it feels hotter than that. It's going to be feeling like 33, 32. In the Interlake region, Gimli surrounding areas, we're seeing 19 degrees right now. The sky will see a mix of sun and clouds as we get into the morning. The winds will pick up from the southeast, and we'll see temperatures get to 27. Showers and thunderstorms also likely to come later tonight. Now, tracking conditions in the northern part of the province. Looking at the PA is actually seeing clear conditions right now. Earlier, we saw that smoke warning there, but the air quality warning ended for that part of the province. Now we're 18 degrees. We're expecting mainly sunny skies and highs around 29 degrees, while smoke is in Flin Flon, just next door, 20 degrees at this time. Southwest winds becoming light this morning. The smoke will linger today, and we'll see highs around 29 degrees. And then Thompson, widespread smoke still in that part of the province, 18 degrees at this time. South winds becoming breezy this morning. High would get to 28 degrees. The humidity for Thompson is going to feel like 35 degrees, so it's going to be really, really muggy there. Churchill is at 18 right now. Also winds coming from the southwest. Expect highs near 29 degrees, and it's going to feel like 36, 37 degrees. So folks in Churchill should take it easy today. Hydrate, minus this plus the smoke and the heat. It's really going to feel uncomfortable. So across the province, we're looking at smoke and heat that will dominate the northern part of the province. And down south, we're going to see a mix of sun and clouds and expecting rain later today. Winnipeg sits at 17 right now, partly cloudy skies, warming up to 27 degrees.
Thank you very much, Abby.
Thank you.
That is Abby Adiemi. I'm Chloe Friesen. You're listening to Information Radio. If something is slowing you down on your commute this morning, you can call our commuter line at 204-788-3099. 993. Let's say hello to Crystalie Ramlakan with the business report this morning. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Chloe.
So starting with trade, two of the country's most senior ministers are heading to Mexico to discuss trade. What are the details on that?
Yeah, so Finance Minister Francois Philippe Champagne and Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand are meeting in Mexico City today and tomorrow to look at strengthening Canada's economic partnership with Mexico. Champagne says Canada needs to engage with strategic partners around the world, and the meetings will include things like markets and diversification. And one source tells CBC the meeting should lay the groundwork for a future meeting between the Mexican President and Prime Minister Mark Carney. Now, U.S. President Donald Trump has announced an extension of an existing trade deal with Mexico for 90 days, while talks continue with the goal of, signing a new trade deal there. Of course, we know Canada has not received an extension, and Trump has signed an executive order raising tariffs on Canadian goods that are not compliant with the Canada-U.S.-Mexico Trade Agreement, or CUSMA, to 35%. Now, this carve-out for CUSMA-compliant goods means very few Canadian products will actually be subjected to the elevated tariff, though. And Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc says he expects Carney and Trump will have a conversation with each other over the next couple of days. So, of course, we're going to be watching for that. Lots of close eyes on trade these days.
Yes, certainly. However, Crystalie, Canada's economy is actually showing some resilience here in the face of U.S. tariffs. Can you break that down for us?
Yeah, that's right. So despite tariffs piling up over the past few months from Canada's largest trading partner, economists say there are few signs of total economic collapse. So some forecasters had predicted a much weaker economy by this point. And Statistics Canada saw a couple of small contractions in the economy in the spring, but its estimates show actually a rebound by June. But the economy is starting to show some cracks. Over the last 6 months, economic activity is somewhat flatlining. Service sectors are holding up relatively well, but export-heavy industries such as manufacturing and transportation are bearing the brunt of the impact. So some trade-exposed sectors have faced job losses, as we know, and unemployment has generally trended upward. But the Bank of Canada says consumption is still growing, although it is being restrained by the uncertainty, of course, caused by tariffs. And forecasters of the bank now expect Canada will avoid a technical recession this year. And some argue, if the central bank was actually panicked, it would have lowered interest rates last month, which we know it did not.
Let's head now to the box office. Did folks go see a movie over the long weekend?
So The Naked Gun, of course, the reboot of the 1980s, 90s franchise. And actually one of the few comedies getting a theatrical release this year, generated about $17 million at the box office. So not a total blockbuster, but not really a flop either. But the film has received strong reviews, and executives at Paramount Pictures think that combined with positive word of mouth, it's going to easily help the studio recoup its investment in the film. Now, theatrical comedies have been the most decimated by streaming, and today the genre generates less than half the box office revenue it once did. Now, some say studios kind of got scared away from the genre after a string of comedies disappointed at the box office between 2016 and 2019. And of course, we know Marvel movies have kind of sucked up a lot of the theatrical oxygen. And on that note, the Fantastic Four: First Steps topped the box office charts over the weekend in its second week in theaters.
There is always a new Marvel movie, and I just can't keep up, Crystalie.
Yeah, me either. I saw the poster for this. I went and saw the materialists at the cheap seats, and I was like, there's another Fantastic Four movie coming out?
For
what?
Marvel fans,
Okay.
though, they're living the good life. That's awesome.
They are.
What's happening in the market so far this morning?
In Europe, markets are climbing. Germany is up. The UK is up. France is up. In Asia, markets are trading higher. Japan is up. Shanghai is up. Hong Kong is up. Oil is down 73 cents to $65.56 US per barrel. Gold is down $22.20 to $3,351.10 US per ounce. And the dollar is down 0.14 of a cent to 72.4 cents US.
Thank you very much, Crystalie.
Okay, thanks, Chloe.
That was Crystalie Ramlakan with the business news. Well, we're going to head to Ontario for this next story, where there's another mind-blowing Lego construction on display at Lyons Manor in Windsor. Guy Christian and Natalie Dorian have been making their Lego dreams come true for about 7 years, but many of the people who have checked out these projects can't see them. In fact, the artists behind these works struggle to see for themselves. Dorian is blind and Christian has impaired vision. The CBC's Michael Hargraves visited them both to hear how their latest creation came together piece by piece.
We built an 1800 steam train. It's the engine, the coal car, the passenger car, and the caboose.
It's a beautiful design. How long did it take for you to make this?
About a month or so, and working with it, a little bit at a time.
And this isn't your first project. Tell me a little bit more about the other projects that you've done.
We built a horse barn, and I have some horse figurines, so we put them all in there, and I really like that one because I love horses. And we built this building actually in 2021. We've also made the Taj Mahal. We built the City Square in Toronto. We have built the Eiffel Tower, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and what else? The Empire State Building. We built quite a few. We built the Parliament buildings in Ottawa and different projects like that. So we have quite a few. And we built a great big grand piano. And we also built a big upright piano as well.
And you have no vision. You are blind.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about why you like to do this and what you enjoy about it.
I love Lego because I think it's fascinating to go through the development stages of building something and then how it all is at the very end, what the overall structure is. And it's amazing to me that there are so many different pieces of Lego, which gives you more flexibility to create different effects and different designs in the work. And I love the fact that we can build because I can't travel very well right now. You know, especially during the pandemic, we couldn't travel to see these buildings and things in different places. But when I see the overall structure in a tactile, with the tactile experience, it's much better for me because people can look and see everything, the whole of the building. Whereas if I was to touch a part of it, it would just be a wall or a window or a door. But when I feel the overall tactile experience of the building, to me it's just amazing. So I love Lego for that, traveling the world through Lego, if you will.
And could you tell me a little bit about how you know each other and how you work together to make these projects?
Well, we just know each other from the building. We're neighbors, and it just started something that we can do together. Whatever the project is, I look it up online and see how it's designed. Then I kind of lay it out myself, and then and Natalie can build up from what I guide her to how to build the different layers of whatever project.
And Natalie, this is at Lyons Manor, where there are many residents who are also blind.
Yes.
How are they enjoying it?
Well, they love the fact that we can build all these things because I think it's important for us to be able to know what a building looks like from a different country or the overall structure of a train or this, I think it's really cool to be able to visit these things through Lego buildings so they can get a feel for it as I do. And it's something that is fun to talk about as well. And Lego, it all started when I brought a little tote bin of Lego that my friend Helen gave me. She said, well, you might as well enjoy them. And then Guy started creating something. And with him showing me what technique you can do, I learned a lot more. I've learned a lot through Guy. And, then we were able to create all these fun things, and we love it.
Yeah, can you tell me about where you got all of these pieces from? It started with the tote, but there's a lot more than just a tote's worth of pieces here.
Well, yeah, a lot. Like we've just kept adding to the collection. A lot of people have given us some Legos too, and so it just keeps piling up, and we keep building bigger projects.
How many pieces do you think this project is behind you?
Probably about 30,000.
30,000 pieces. Have you ever stepped on a piece?
Yes.
I've knelt on one too. Oh, it hurts.
She'll say, "Oh, we dropped a piece. Oh, we found it. We stepped on it."
That is visually impaired Lego artists Natalie Dorian and Guy Christian. They were chatting with the CBC's Michael Hargreaves. The time is 6:51. You're listening to Information Radio on CBC Radio 1. I'm Chloe Friesen. The federal government has been working to reduce or eliminate U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs on Canadian exports. But Trump's August 1st deadline for a deal came and went last Friday, and Trump has instead slapped a higher tariff on some Canadian goods, going from 25% to 35%. To tell us more on this, as well as about what's happening with the MPs this summer, we've reached Sarah Ritchie. She's a reporter covering federal politics for the Canadian Press. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning.
So last week, Canadian officials didn't get the news they had hoped for regarding tariffs. What has been the reaction so far?
The reaction has been pretty mixed. I think that the Conservatives in opposition and some of Mark Carney's critics have said that this is evidence he's not able to do the thing that he sold to Canadians during the election, which is to be the master negotiator, the guy who can handle Trump, the person who can get the best deal for Canada. I think that they have said this looks like he's not able to get a deal. Mark Carney is the one who imposed the first deadline on these negotiations, which was supposed to be in July. And then that got bumped a little bit, and then it got moved to August when Donald Trump put out this letter saying everybody gets a deal by August 1st or there are new tariffs. So we've seen, critics pointing out the fact that there are more tariffs on Canadian goods than there were before the election. And then I think on the other side of things, we've also seen a lot of people saying, yeah, but this is a negotiation with Donald Trump. Let's take a look at the deals that he's got or that he's signed with other countries and acknowledge that there are some pretty tough deals out there. He's not the easiest person to negotiate with. It's not even clear really if there is a lot of negotiating happening or if it's more Donald Trump sort of imposing these tariffs. And I think that there are some defenders of Mark Carney and of the Liberal government who would say that, this is a moment where Canada is not just taking a deal by a certain date. It's rather trying to keep that conversation open. And trying to get a deal that doesn't include some sort of baseline tariff that Canada is, not willing to pay.
What do we know about the federal government's plan moving forward here regarding U.S. tariffs?
Well, we know that Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc and Mark Carney's chief of staff have been in and out of Washington quite a lot over the last couple of weeks, trying to have those conversations at a very high level, trying to make sure the negotiations keep moving. We also know that LeBlanc says Mark Carney and Donald Trump are going to be speaking soon. So that's, always an interesting conversation. People will be watching for what happens there. And we've heard, I think it's important to point out that the Prime Minister's been signaling for several weeks now that this sort of artificially imposed deadline that Canada initially set and that Donald Trump added to has always been a bit of a target rather than a real deadline. He's been saying for a few weeks now, we're going to keep working to get the best deal possible. We're not just going to sign any old deal just to get it done by a certain date. And I think that's something that we will see the two sides, continue to negotiate. as best they can to try to get something on paper here that is palatable to both sides. But we've also heard Donald Trump saying multiple times in the last couple of months, Canada's really nasty. Canada's not easy to deal with. And I think you can take from that whatever you will. Maybe that means that Canada's not willing to bend, or that we're, imposing tougher counter tariffs. We're one of the only countries in the world that's actually retaliated against the U.S. tariffs. And so I think it puts us in maybe a bit of a unique position among our allies.
We have just about a minute here, Sarah, and I want to ask, we're halfway through the summer. MPs won't be back in the House of Commons until the middle of September, so the timing is certainly interesting here. Many MPs must be facing questions about how tariffs will affect their communities. What can you tell us about how MPs might handle this summer?
Yeah, I think this has got to be tough for them, right? There's not a lot of answers they can offer to people, and I think that's been a real challenge for a lot of MPs. It's important. The summertime is a really important time for them. They're not here in Ottawa in front of the cameras and talking to people like me, but at the same time, in their communities, especially for MPs who are newly elected, which about a third of the MPs are brand new at the job, this is an opportunity for them to really get to know their communities, to talk to business leaders in their communities, and get a real sense of how the tariffs will impact these regions, because this is the opportunity for them to get that knowledge, to be able to have those conversations, to bring it back to Ottawa in September. I think it's going to be challenging because they won't have a lot of answers to offer to people about what's going to happen next. It's just also unpredictable. But at the same time, at least they will have the opportunity to hear the concerns of people in their communities and to be able to really meet them, get to know them, understand what are the issues that they're going to have to raise in September. And, just to get to know people, I think is a fascinating and important part of a job of an MP. They need to really understand their communities and get out and travel. And this is the opportunity to do that for sure.
Sarah, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks so much for having me.
Sarah Ritchie is a reporter covering federal politics for the Canadian Press. It's time now to go to Heather Wells with news headlines.
Good morning. Well, a man whose bike was stolen is having a hard time getting it back, even though it has an air tracker. Louis has watched his bicycle travel all over downtown Winnipeg using his Find My app. His app says the bike has been sitting at a hotel on Main Street, but he doesn't think it's safe to get on his own. Police say they are investigating and do not recommend people try to recover stolen property on their own. Wildfire evacuees say Winnipeg's congregate shelter is getting too crowded. Nisitchirwaisit Cree Nation expects most of its residents will end up at the RBC Convention Centre. Nicole Woodhart is staying at the shelter and says it's getting harder, especially for young children. She says it's cold and no one has come to speak with them to offer help. We'll hear more in our next local news coming up at 7:30.
Thank you very much, Heather.
Thank you.
That is CBC's Heather Wells. Coming up just after World Report, the Winnipeg Humane Society took in over 500 cats and kittens in July alone. We'll find out what's behind this increase and what you can do to help. Also still to come, how often do parents encourage their children to take down and pin members of their community? That's exactly what's happening at the Wrestling with Skills Club in Winnipeg. We're going to take you there just after 7:30. Those stories and lots more still to come on Information Radio. World Report is next.
Today on The Current.
The Canadian Federation of Independent Business is raising a warning flag that Canada's economy could be in for a rough go.
2025 has been a tumultuous year in terms of figuring out what we can expect from the Canadian economy, and that's not likely to stop anytime soon.
They may not conclude by the 1st of August.
What trade deals could mean for your finances, coming up on The Current.
The Current, this morning at 8:37, 9:07 in Newfoundland, and on the CBC Listen app.
This is World Report. Good morning, I'm Sam Sampson. In a three-way trade agreement like CUSMA, no country wants to be the odd one out, and Washington has been making a lot of bilateral deals lately. So today, Canadian officials are headed to Mexico City. Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne says he and Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand will be focused on improving relations and strengthening trade ties. The CBC's Megan Fitzpatrick is following the story from our Parliamentary Bureau. Megan, what are the goals of this trip?
Well, these kinds of face-to-face meetings really do help bolster the relationships between Canada and Mexico. And they're particularly going to be focusing on bolstering that trade relationship. So Canada and Mexico and the U.S. do have a free trade agreement known in Canada as CUSMA. But as we know, the U.S. president is imposing tariffs on both of these trading partners despite that agreement. Likely they will be discussing that and how to keep CUSMA intact, really. It is a crucial trade deal for both Canada and Mexico, and it's up for review next year. So they'll be talking about trading with the U.S., but also trading with each other. Canada is really focused right now on diversifying its trading partners beyond just the U.S., so it's not so heavily reliant on just that market. Here's some of what Champagne said about his trip.
It is important for us to engage with our Mexican friends, and so the meetings will be constructive in that respect. Looking at markets, looking at diversification, looking at strengthening our partnership with our Mexican colleagues.
So what more do we know about the meeting with Sheinbaum?
Well, we do know it's set to take place today. We don't know exactly how long it's set to last or exactly what's on the agenda, but perhaps she'll be giving them some advice on how Canada could negotiate with Trump. But also these two ministers meeting with Sheinbaum, it's likely part of laying the groundwork for a meeting down the road between Prime Minister Mark Carney and Sheinbaum. So this is an opportunity for the two ministers to get to know Sheinbaum and do some of that diplomacy work that happens ahead of meetings. Hopefully we'll get some details about what was discussed during that meeting once it's over later today.
The CBC's Megan Fitzpatrick in Ottawa. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Israel says it will gradually start allowing goods into Gaza through local merchants. It has not said when or what kind of goods will be allowed, but it does say the goal is to increase aid to Gaza while reducing reliance on the United Nations and other international organizations. Palestinian and UN officials say Gaza needs around 600 aid trucks per day to meet humanitarian needs. It is currently getting far less than that. Yesterday, the Canadian Armed Forces made its first humanitarian airdrop over Gaza, and CBC News correspondent Susan Ormiston had exclusive access.
At the King Abdullah II Air Base near Amman, big transport planes line up to fly over Gaza with a payload to ease the suffering. Canada took its turn with Major Cam McKay in the pilot's seat.
We were obviously, the entire team is extremely motivated to be able to go out and do the mission to provide much needed humanitarian aid to the people in Gaza.
Nearly 10 tons of food aid in boxes was dropped Monday from a Canadian Forces Hercules C-130, allowed by Israel, orchestrated by Jordan as part of a 3-week air campaign.
Airdrops are a last resort, but Canada stands committed to peace and security in this region and will continue to intensify our efforts to reach our goals.
Karen Bonder at the Canadian Embassy says opening land borders to truck in aid is still critical. Health authorities say Gaza is on the brink of famine. And when the food packets hanging from parachutes hit the ground in Gaza, a throng rushed the scene, tearing at boxes, grabbing whatever they could. A raw, humiliating way to get food, says this woman, who came away empty-handed. We want to go back to the old ways, she says. Hundreds of trucks loaded wait outside the borders. Israel restricts most of that aid. And for now, Canada is not planning another aid flight over Gaza. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Amman, Jordan.
UN talks aimed at curbing global plastic pollution are kicking off in Geneva, Switzerland today. But delegates say they are unlikely to reach a pact that restrains pollution. Katrin Schneeberger is director of the Federal Office for the Environment of Switzerland.
We want to protect human health and our environment, and we want to do that now. However, we must also acknowledge that multilateralism is facing challenges. Geopolitical tensions and financial crises can sometimes hinder our ability to act collectively.
Climate advocates say petrochemical-producing countries are blocking meaningful action to prevent plastic pollution. Petroleum, coal, and gas are all used in plastic production, and without intervention, plastic production is on track to triple by 2060. Nanaimo, BC, and the surrounding community are all coming together to help wildfire evacuees. Hundreds of people had to leave their homes, which are still being threatened by the Wesley Ridge wildfire. Yasmin Ranea has more on how people are helping each other cope.
Hey guys. In a Facebook video, Ari Buttonham is seen driving his tow truck on a Vancouver Island highway. He's helping evacuees of the Wesley Ridge wildfire burning northwest of Nanaimo move their RVs, trailers, and tiny homes to safe areas. This is purely a volunteer service. Just happy to help. About 400 people have been ordered to leave their homes. That's prompted residents of nearby communities on Vancouver Island to step up.
So I just seen the situation unfolding and I wanted to become available for my community.
Retired paramedic Joan is also lending a helping hand, using social media to connect evacuees with people who could give them shelter or transport their pets and livestock.
I think as soon as somebody says, hey, I need this, if somebody hears that and they have that, they're offering it.
She says about 200 people have come to help out.
That is amazing to me.
Trofanenko has owned a recreational property in the evacuated area for 20 years and says it's her safe haven.
It is absolutely beautiful. We're in the wilderness. We're in the trees. To have that at risk is so devastating.
Crews are working around the clock to bring the fire burning in inaccessible and challenging terrain under control. Yasmin Ranea, CBC News, Vancouver.
Residents in Newfoundland's Conception Bay North area are evacuating their homes again. There have been at least 9 fires in recent months, including one in May that destroyed several homes. And one mayor in the area, Curtis Delaney, says he thinks something suspicious is going on.
If you stack them up side by side, they're all almost cookie cutter. So that's what makes them definitely suspicious. And the area, I mean, it's confined within our town for the most part.
RCMP say they are investigating the cause of the fires in cooperation with the province. They did not answer questions about the potential for arson. In the rural Alberta riding of Battle River Crowfoot, gun culture runs deep. But it's gun policy that's top of mind for voters and candidates as they prepare for the upcoming federal by-election. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is one of more than 200 names on the ballot. The CBC's Acton Clarkin has been speaking with locals about their concerns.
So I got all different kind of guns, rifles, I got shotguns.
Yasser Saeed is selling guns at the annual Summer Gun Show in Hanna, Alberta, inside the Battle River Crowfoot riding. His sales are slower year after year.
People are getting scared of buying guns. People are not into guns as much because of the restrictions, right?
Many locals say the federal government is banning too many gun models, making some guns that were once legal no longer okay. Around here, using guns is part of everyday life. Hunting is common, and farmers and ranchers use guns to chase away animals. Marge Vino says rules should be less restrictive.
There shouldn't be any gun policies to take everybody's guns away because it makes no sense in our part of the world.
When asked if she would refuse to vote for a by-election candidate who proposed stricter gun rules,
probably.
At a local firing range, longtime gun enthusiast Dave Collins says it's important for candidates to understand the unique realities of living in rural Alberta.
Until you get around and start circulating around the countryside, you really don't develop a picture of that stuff. Here's the rest of the world, folks.
As for Pierre Poilievre, he's making gun rights part of his platform.
your right to protect and keep your firearms. That is a local issue. These local issues require strong national leadership.
The Battle River Crowfoot by-election is scheduled for August 18th. Acton Clarkin, CBC News, Hanna, Alberta.
That's your latest national and international news from World Report. I'm Sam Sampson. This is CBC News.
Good morning, Manitoba. I'm Chloe Friesen, filling in this morning for Marcy Marcusa. You're listening to Information Radio on CBC Radio 1. 89.3 FM, 990 AM on YouTube or anywhere on your CBC Listen app. Coming up on the show, Jim Agapito visits a Winnipeg wrestling club to see how the ancient Olympic sport is being adopted by today's youth. As well, a Winnipegger is frustrated that his stolen bike can't be recovered by police, despite the fact that he knows exactly where it is thanks to a GPS tracker. We'll hear from him. But first, the Winnipeg Humane Society has had an influx of cats and kittens come into their care. We're talking over 500 felines in the month of July. We'll talk to them about how Winnipeggers can help and possibly bring a cat or two home. Those stories and much more coming up on Information Radio. But first, it's time for news headlines with Heather Wells. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, Nisitchirwaisit Cree Nation evacuees say there is not enough room for all of them at the Winnipeg RBC Convention Centre. More than 1,500 people were forced to leave over their long weekend, with nearby wildfires threatening the only road into their community. Nicole Woodhart is staying at the congregate shelter set up at the convention centre. She says it is getting too crowded and cold and unsafe for her children. Clothing retailer YM is set to take over 5 former Saks Off 5th stores in Canada, including one in Winnipeg. The $5 million deal includes the now empty space at the Outlet Mall at Seasons of Tuxedo in southwest Winnipeg. Neither the company nor Winnipeg's Outlet Mall is saying exactly how that empty space is going to be used. We'll hear more in our next local news coming up at 7:30.
Thank you very much, Heather.
Thank you.
That is CBC's Heather Wells. Hello and good morning to the team here on Information Radio. Brad Lillies is in charge of our YouTube live stream. Abby Adiemi is here as our technical producer, also keeping an eye on your forecast.
Yes, smoke and heat are the main concerns today, especially in the northern part of the province where we have that air quality, which is really, really poor, affecting a lot of people. Hence the warnings we have there impacting central part of the province all the way to the northern regions. We're talking about as far as Churchill and the York region. We're seeing this air quality health index really, really in the range of +10. So you need to take it easy out there. Also, air quality statement remains for eastern part of the province from Bissett all the way down to Pines Fall. Smoke can shift quickly, so it's best to stay indoors if you are affected. For Winnipeg right now, it's now clear outside. The sun is about to make its appearance. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds today. Temperatures climb to 27, but the humidity is going to make it feel like 33 degrees today. The winds will stay mild from the southeast, and then tonight some clouds will begin to come into play, and we'll see some showers and thunderstorms. We're looking at about 5 millimeters of rain with a mild low around 18 degrees later tonight. In the southern part of the province, we're already seeing temperatures get close to 20 degrees, while up north, we're seeing temperatures already in the 20s. Most of the regions will warm up close to 27 degrees today, while in the northern part of the province, we'll be seeing temperatures get to 29, 28. Winnipeg right now, 17, heading for high of 27.
Thank you very much, Abby.
Thank you.
Sierra Sanders, our show director this morning, joins us now for a look at the commute. How's it going out there?
It's looking pretty smooth out there. I haven't gotten any calls on the commuter line so far during the show, but just wanted to remind some folks about a construction zone on Century. So on Century, and this runs from Ellis to Saskatchewan, 2 lanes are closed for street construction until September 10th. So you can expect delays for northbound Century. This is between Ellis and Saskatchewan. 2 lanes are closed, so you are down to 1 lane there because of some street construction that's happening and is running until about mid-September, it sounds like. So expect some delays there on northbound Century. If there's anything else slowing you down out there, whether maybe you're getting held up by a construction project or if something's going on out there, whether you are here in the city or out on the highways, I'd love to hear about it to let your fellow commuters know. You can give me a call at the CBC traffic line. That's 204-788-3093.
The time is 7:15. The Winnipeg Humane Society has had a major increase in cat and kitten surrenders. In July, they had over 500 felines brought in. And after holding adoption events and sales, they still have over 100 cats in shelter. Carly Peters is the Director of Communications and Marketing for the Winnipeg Humane Society. And Carly joins us as well with a special guest. Good morning, Carly.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Who do we have with us today here?
So this is Tiny, and the shelter was closed yesterday, so I'm using Tiny. He's my cat, but he's a Winnipeg Humane Society alumni, and he's a really great representation of a lot of the cats that have come into our care in the last little while. He was an owner surrender because he was injured. They couldn't afford his care, so he came into the shelter. I fostered him for a while, and then just couldn't let him go, so he ended up with us permanently. So a little bit of a foster fail.
I was going to say, I believe that's called the foster fail. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best kind of failure.
How long have you had Tiny?
Oh, at least. Well, he's 5 now, and we got him at 5 weeks. So 5 years.
Goodness.
We had him most of his life.
I was going to say, if you're watching on YouTube, you can tell how comfortable Tiny is right now. Just loving cuddles, giving you little kisses. Looks like your best bud.
Like a little baby. Yeah.
Amazing. So let's talk about how many cats are currently in care at the Humane Society. Do you have a number?
Yeah, so currently in shelter, we're looking at about 140 cats and kittens in shelter. And then we have another 216 in foster, and about 178 of those are kittens. So we basically have a shelter's worth of cats and kittens in foster right now.
Why do you think there's such a big influx of cats and kittens this past month in July?
Yeah, so there's a multiple number of reasons. It includes we're still in cat and kitten season. We're probably on the back end of it, but we're still seeing a lot of kittens and moms coming in. Again, cost of living, people not being able to afford vet care. Maybe there's a little food scarcity or it's behavioral issues. And then people are not leaving cats in the community. We've had some really horrific cruelty cases in the last year in the city, and people are just not comfortable when they see a cat outside and then they bring them to us. So, yeah.
When it comes to cost of living, is that something that you're hearing quite consistently when folks are surrendering?
Yeah, that's been for the last, good year and a half. That's been probably one of the top reasons that owners do surrender animals to us. Typically vet care. Vet care is quite high. Cats in particular, some of the main medical issues we see with surrenders is blockages. Can be quite expensive if you have to take an animal to your vet to have your cat unblocked. So about at least half of our cats, the owner surrenders are because they can't afford vet care.
What options are out there for cat owners if this does become an issue, if they're wondering about financial strain or struggling to afford their cat due to medical issues? Are there options? Are there supports out there that could precede surrendering the cat?
Yeah, so at the Winnipeg Humane Society, we do offer some low-cost vet care options, including low-cost spay and neuter programs. We also have a food bank if food scarcity is an issue. We have a free behavior helpline. People can call or email and talk to our outreach facilitators who can provide them with full training plans if there's litter box issues or things like that. So we really want to offer these services to keep people and pets together so they don't end up in the shelter with us.
What effect does this number of cats in shelter and in foster, what kind of effect does that have on the shelter itself?
Yeah, it has a strain on every single department, from our intake to vet care, our animal care. Obviously we strive to provide the best care to keep our cats and kittens healthy and happy. So that takes a lot of time. When you have 140 cats and kittens in the shelter, each one gets their own individual care. So big strain internally. And then with that many animals in foster, that also puts a big strain on our foster families. That's a lot of people looking after a lot of cats.
Have you paused intakes? I know that's something that occasionally will happen with high numbers of animals in shelter.
Yeah, we've been pretty much on an intake freeze for at least a good year and a half for owner surrenders. If it's not medical issues, obviously we will, not turn away, and we're finding people are just not even taking no for an answer, to be honest. Sometimes we have had animals left on our doorstep. I think as recently as a couple of days ago, we had a mom and kittens just left outside our door. So we do have an intake freeze. We really want to work with people to see what other options there are so that we can keep people and their pets together.
So I guess next steps include trying to find these cats and kittens some homes. I know that you had some sales, some events. How have things been going?
Yeah, you know what? It's been going really well. I believe over Friday to Sunday, we had in total about 60 cats and kittens get adopted. Again, but like you said, we still have so many more looking for homes. We are probably going to look at maybe extending the promotion. Just keep an eye on our social media for any information about that. And we're saying if you're not ready to adopt right now, still share our promotions, share the stories about our animals, because maybe someone in your feed is ready to adopt and they might just be the perfect pet for them.
Now, if someone already has a cat but figure they could maybe use a friend if they're looking at adopting, how do you make that introduction? I know it's a little bit different than introducing dogs.
That's right. Yeah, for sure. So our adoption team is incredible at, working through a lot of questions with adopters, getting to hopefully know their cat just through some questions and seeing if they can find the right match. And we have a lot of great post-adoption support that can help people learn how to introduce cats properly. A lot of time it's going to take some time, and we follow the 3-3-3 rule. It takes about 3 days for decompression, 3 weeks to kind of settle into a routine, and then 3 months to fully feel at home. So we, it's just a lot of patience and trying to find that right match.
Carly, if folks want to peruse the cats available for adoption, even if they can't adopt, sometimes I just scroll on your website and I just smile and I look at cats and their funny names. Where should people go? WinnipegHumaneSociety.ca/adopt will take you right to all of our adoptable animals. And we also encourage people to come down to the shelter because, things change quickly and sometimes there's a few animals that can't not be on the website. So come down and see all of our wonderful pets that are very deserving of a home. Carly, thank you so much for joining us, and make sure you give Tiny a little scratch for me.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Carly Peters is the Director of Communications and Marketing for the Winnipeg Humane Society, and she was joined by her own cat adopted from the Winnipeg Humane Society, Tiny. You are listening to Information Radio on CBC Radio 1. We have time for a song, one of my favorites, actually, at the moment. Pop supernova Chapel Roan recently dropped her second single of the year. It's an ode to lost love, the New York subway system, and a Canadian province. The video opens on canola fields and grain bins and ends with a moving van driving past the Land of Living Skies border sign. The video left some wondering if Roan actually went to Saskatchewan to film. Unfortunately for fans, the answer is no. But here's the Grammy Award-winning artist anyway with her new single, The Subway.
Somebody wore your perfume, it almost killed me. I had to leave the room, it's just another day. It's not all right to let you thought that we were still soulmates, but I'm still counting down all of the days till you're just another girl on the subway. Made you the villain, evil for just moving on. I see your shadow, I see it even with the lights off. I made a promise if in 4 months this feeling ain't gone. Well, this city, I'm moving to Saskatchewan. It's just another day, and it's not over till it's over. Oh, till it's over. It's just another day, and it's not over till it's over. It's never over. I can break routine during foreplay.
Chapel Roan with her new single, The Subway, with that lovely little reference to the province of Saskatchewan. You're listening to Information Radio on CBC Radio 1. It's time to talk sports with Paul McGowan. Good morning.
Good morning, Chloe.
So we're starting with tennis. We're one step closer to seeing a Canadian in the National Bank Final.
Well, Victoria Mboko did it again after upsetting top seed Coco Gauff on the weekend. Mboko got a bit of a break last night up against Jessica Buzas-Monero of Spain, who was playing in her first ever 1,000 level quarterfinal. And to her credit, Buzas-Monero proved harder to dispatch than Coco Gauff. She broke Mboko's serve early in the second set to provide a little bit of tension. But Mboko does prevail in straight sets last night to book her ticket to the semifinal. And after was just as amazed as the rest of us, apparently, that she's on the verge of the National Bank Final.
I don't even know what to say anymore. I keep surprising myself. I don't know. So I'm just really happy. Honestly, I didn't have any expectations for myself this week. I was like, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be in the main draw of the National Bank Open. So to know that I made the semifinals, it's reflecting back on it. I mean, I'll feel a little bit later, but it's insane for me, and I couldn't be happier.
What a scene it would be if she can fight her way through to the final in Montreal. First up, though, another tough test in Wednesday's semifinal up against Elena Rybakina of Kazakhstan.
She's just happy to be there.
Just happy. Well, and I was talking earlier, you have to enjoy it in tennis because you never know how long it's going to last.
For sure. Let's go to baseball now. The Blue Jays hoping to rebound from a disappointing week. Are they happy to be there?
They are now, because after 2 wins in their last 7, they got to play the worst team in baseball, which is always kind of nice. And they did it in Colorado, which is a ballpark that always produces offense. And the Blue Jays took full advantage. A 15-1 final against the Rockies. 25 hits for the Jays, dominating Colorado's pitching. Now, on the Jays side of the rubber, starter Eric Lauer, 6 innings of work for him. And as you can imagine, he was very thankful for all the run support.
You're not going out there worrying about, I can't let guys score. It gives you that sense of, you can almost relax a little bit if a guy gets on, because you're just worried about the next hitter rather than trying to make sure that they don't score, which is a great feeling as a starting pitcher. I mean, what the boys are doing is unbelievable. That's so many hits. And I mean, it was everything. They were hitting it all over the park. These guys are dogs.
Pitchers like pitching with a 3-run lead. Eric Lauer, after the third inning, had a 9-0 lead. That is about as comfortable as it gets. Bo Bichette, by the way, had a night. 2 home runs for him, 6 runs batted in. We'll see if the Blue Jays can keep it going tonight. They play the second of 3 against the Rockies. Jose Barrios on the mound tonight.
All right, let's end with basketball and some news about a new professional league.
Yeah, Chloe, the last time that a league challenged the NBA for market share, it sounded like this.
Live from the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York, Home Box Office Sports presents the 6th game of the championship round between the Denver Nuggets and the New York Nets.
Sports themes just don't have the bongos that they used to have.
They
That
need
is a
more
clip.
bongos.
Yeah, that's an incredible theme. It's from an ABA game in 1976, far enough back that HBO was the broadcaster. But we've heard rumors for a while now that the business partner of LeBron James, Maverick Carter, has been looking for investment in a professional league of his own. The idea is 6 men's teams, 6 women's teams that would travel and play games internationally. Now, when these rumors started, LeBron James was not attached. He is now apparently attached, as is at least the agent for Nikola Jokic, a former MVP. And the rumor is that this league wants to play games as early as next year. I mean, that could be bluster. We don't know if this league will actually take off, and rival leagues almost never find success, but it's at least an interesting wrinkle ahead of NBA training camp in September.
I mean, I hear 6 women's teams. I'm pretty happy about that, at least, so we'll have to see.
6 women's teams and bring back a theme with some bongos.
That's
and we're
all
in
we
business.
need. We're golden, Paul. Thank you for joining us this
Thanks,
morning.
Chloe.
That is CBC's Paul McGowan with your sports news. Still to come, sticking with sports, Jim Agapito visits a Winnipeg wrestling club to see how the ancient Olympic sport is being adopted by today's youth. That story and so much more coming up just after your CBC local news.
This is CBC News. Good morning. I'm Heather Wells in Winnipeg. At 7:30, it is 18. A mix of sun and clouds today. 27 is our high. The humidex 33. And tonight, you may need an umbrella. We're expecting showers to move in this evening. Wildfire evacuees say Winnipeg's congregate shelter is getting too crowded. Nisichawayasik Cree Nation is expecting most of its residents to end up at RBC Convention Centre because of a lack of hotel space. Nicole Woodhart says staying at the shelter is getting harder, especially for young children.
It's really hard to just sit around and wait for nothing. Nobody's coming to talk to us. Nobody's offering us any help. I have to go and bug them and get mad at them for milk for my newborn. They don't have it. I've been asking and asking, and I try to ask nicely, and that doesn't seem to get me anywhere.
People from the First Nation, also known as Nelson House, were ordered out over the long weekend as wildfires threatened the only road in and out of their community. More than 1,500 people left Nisichawayasik by Sunday. Thousands more are still waiting to leave. A Winnipeg man whose bike was stolen is trying to track it down with the AirTag. Louis' bike was stolen last week. He has been watching it travel all over downtown Winnipeg on his Find My app. CBC News has agreed not to share his last name because his bike was stolen near his child's daycare and he is concerned for his family's safety. Louis tried to recover the bike from a house where the app said it was located. The person living there claimed to have bought his bike from someone else that day.
I had mentioned that it was like teal and orange in color, and they mentioned, yeah, that sounds like the bike I had bought today. He kind of wanted his money back that he had paid for it. Gave a little fist bump, see you in 20 minutes. I left my phone number with the other fella that lives at the house. Still haven't heard anything.
Louis says his app now shows his bike has been sitting at a hotel on Main Street for the last several days. Winnipeg police advise people not to try to recover stolen property themselves. You can hear more on this story coming up in the next half hour right here on Information Radio. 3 people were taken to hospital after a multi-vehicle crash in the West End. Emergency crews were called to Ellis and Banning just before 9 yesterday morning. Police say 5 or 6 vehicles were involved in that crash. 2 people were initially in unstable condition. 1 person was stable. Several others were seen by paramedics but did not need hospitalization. The crash closed Ellis and Banning for several hours yesterday. A vacant department store in the Tuxedo area is getting a new tenant. Clothing retailer YM Inc. will buy 5 leases across Canada of former Hudson Bay Company locations. The $5 million deal includes the now empty Saks Off 5th space at the Outlet Mall in the Seasons of Tuxedo in southwest Winnipeg. Now, following the closure of all Hudson's Bay stores in June, it is still unclear how other empty spaces left behind within malls will be filled. Lauren Remillard at the Winnipeg Chamber of Commerce says he is confident these spaces will find new life soon.
What we've seen is taking these properties and dividing them into smaller units for businesses. Another
creating destinations for people to come to for things other than shopping. So more that experiential destination space, entertainment hubs, fitness hubs.
YM owns brands including Urban Planet, Blue Notes, West 49, and Susie Shear. Neither the company nor the outlet mall will say exactly how the empty space will be used. On Vancouver Island, the BC Wildfire Service says the Wesley Ridge fire is now a wildfire of note. It has been burning on the north side of Cameron Lake, northwest of Nanaimo. 134 wildfires currently are burning across BC, including one near Lytton. It has grown to more than 1,400 hectares. Evacuation orders are in place for 2 nearby First Nations. UN talks aimed at curbing global plastic pollution are kicking off today in Geneva, Switzerland. But delegates say they're unlikely to reach a pact that restrains pollution. Katharine Schneeberger is director of the Federal Office for the Environment of Switzerland.
We want to protect human health and our environment, and we want to do that now. However, we must also acknowledge that multilateralism is facing challenges. Geopolitical tensions and financial crises can sometimes hinder our ability to act collectively.
Climate advocates say petrochemical producing countries are blocking meaningful action to prevent plastic pollution. Petroleum, coal, and gas are all used in plastic production, and without intervention, plastic production is on track to triple by 2060. You can hear the latest national and international news coming up on World Report at 8, and you can find more Manitoba news at cbc.ca/Manitoba.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
That is CBC's Heather Wells. You're listening to Information Radio. The time is 7:35. Abby Adiemi joins me now for a look at the weather.
Good morning once again. Smoke and heat continues to be the main concerns, especially in the northern part of the province today, where poor air quality is posing serious health risk. We have air quality warnings in effect across central Manitoba, tracking it all the way to Churchill and nearby region due to the smoke, which is really causing poor air quality and low visibility. In some areas, we're looking at the air quality health index around 10 plus, which is actually really dangerous for people with breathing issues, or even if you're just doing regular exercises outside, it will impact you. On the other note, we also have special air quality statements in effect for parts of eastern Manitoba. We're talking about from Victoria Beach all the way to Pine Falls. We will see smoke drifting into that part of the province later today, and that will be on and off. Along with that, for the northern part, then we have the heat. It's going to be pretty hot in the northern part of the province, and this is actually going to be across the province today. Winnipeg at this point, 18 degrees. We're seeing mainly clear conditions outside. We're expecting a mix of sun and clouds through the day with the winds coming from the southeast. It will feel mild at some point, and then temperatures get to 27 degrees today. With the humidity, it's going to feel close to 33, 34 in some areas. In the Pembina Valley region, we're looking at Modern Winkler, Otonamori, 16 degrees. Clear conditions also there, warming up to 24. It will feel warmer than that with the humidity around 30 degrees. Looking at conditions in Brandon and the rest of the Westman region, 19 degrees and cloudy this morning. Temperatures will climb to 28 under some hazy conditions. We're going to see smoke try to drift to that part of the province later. Dauphin is at 17. Misty conditions we're seeing in Dauphin this morning. That should clear, and then we'll see a mix of sun and clouds. The winds will come from the southeast. It's going to be staying mild for most of the day. Temperatures will warm to 27. It's going to feel close to 32 degrees for folks in that part of the province. We're expecting showers and possible thunderstorms to move in later this evening for that region. In Gimli, we're looking at 19 degrees, and the skies are kind of partly cloudy at this time. Expect a mix of sun and clouds also today. The winds will come from the southeast as well. Winds will stay breezy for some time, and then we'll see the highs get to 27 degrees. Few showers also expected in the forecast for Gimli today. Now, with track conditions in the northern part of the province, the PA, we're looking at sunny conditions there, 18 degrees at this point. The PA is going to warm up to 29 degrees. The humidex is going to be around 36. In Flin Flon, we're seeing smoky conditions there, 20 degrees at this time. The smoke will stay all day. Temperatures will warm close to 30 degrees. The humidity is going to make it feel like 35 degrees. Thompson is at 19. Also, some areas in terms of we're seeing 20 degrees already. Smoky conditions there. This would linger through the day. The winds would just be mild, not really going to help much. We see temperatures climb to 28 degrees. The humidity is going to make it feel like 34, 35 degrees. While further north in Churchill, we're looking at 17 degrees. Also, smoke there. Talking about Churchill, York region, widespread smoke, gusty south east winds. It's going to be the condition for that region. Highs will be around 29 and the humidity will be around 36, 37 degrees, and it's going to remain smoky overnight. So it's more like smoke and hazy conditions will dominate the northern half of the province, while where the air quality will be poor and heat will be intense there. And the south will see more like heat and humidity, not as hot as what we're going to get in the northern part of the province today. Winnipeg right now, it's clear outside, 18 degrees, warming to 27.
Thank you very much, Abby.
Thank you.
That is CBC's Abby Adiemi. Sierra Sanders, our show director, joins us now for a quick look at the commute. Good morning.
Good morning, Chloe. Things are moving smoothly on the commuter line. I haven't gotten any calls, so things are going well out there on your Tuesday back from the August long weekend.
You got to remember how to commute.
Exactly. I had to remember how to talk this morning.
Yeah, after a long weekend, it can be tough for sure.
Exactly. Just want to remind folks out there about the Century Street construction zone. So this is from this stretch of construction goes from Ellis Avenue to Saskatchewan Avenue. So 2 lanes are closed for street construction until September 10th. So you are down to 1 lane there. So you can expect delays there on northbound Century. I took a quick look at the live traffic map on Google, and as you're approaching, as you're coming on Century, approaching Ellis, it is slow. It is a dark red, which means very slow.
It's a bad color.
It's a bad color to see. So if you are heading that way on northbound Century, as you're starting to approach Ellis, it does get a little backed up there because people are probably trying to merge over and make sure there's enough room for everybody to get in. So if you are there, that's maybe what's backing it up. Be patient with your fellow commuters. You're all trying to get somewhere this morning. If there's anything else that I should know about, whether you are here in the city or out on the highways, give me a call on the CBC commuter line. That number is 204-788-3093.
Thank you very much, Sierra.
Thank you.
You're listening to Information Radio on CBC Radio 1, 89.3 FM, 990 AM, and everywhere on your CBC Listen app. The time is 7:41. When you think of wrestling, you might picture people with huge muscles and colorful costumes launching themselves off the top rope. It's certainly what I think of, but the ancient sport has some much more traditional roots. CBC's Jim Agapito went to a local wrestling club to see for himself.
I'm at the first Greco-Roman or Olympic-style wrestling club in Winnipeg at the Maples Community Center, and it's dedicated to training members of the Indian community. But it goes much deeper than the sport. Let's find out why.
My name is Paramveer Singh. I'm 29 years old and I'm national champion in India. And here I started my wrestling club, Wrestle with Skills. So I started here in March, and I have almost 25 to 30 students here. In ancient times, there are many Sikh gurus, and in all the religions, there are many religions in India. So it's a belief that all the gurus were doing wrestling, because before that time, they were not really fighting. They have their own wrestlers. For Indian community, this is the first wrestling club. That's why I got a huge response from our community. Most of the parents think that our girls can defend their own. They don't need anybody's help.
Tell me the techniques that they're practicing today.
Yeah, most of the time we focus on children. Sometimes they really don't know what they're doing, but they are growing their muscle memory, right? So when they will grown up, after 1 year, 2 years, they will do the things like most experienced guys are doing. Basically, we have mat. It's 12 by 12 meters. So we have to play inside the red zone. So red zone is for 9 meters. So we have to play inside that. If the opponent went outside of that zone, then we got a score. We have 3 stance: low stance, mid stance, and high stance.
Can you go through it?
Yeah, low stance is properly down to the mat, and mid stance is same like that. And some players of heavyweights, they use high stance. They make their proper stance and stand like that.
So they're pretty much standing?
Yeah, pretty much standing, because it's hard for wrestlers of 120 kg to go properly near to the mat. If I have to go to single leg or double leg, I have to change the position. I have to go down, then I have to grab both legs. The most important thing is my neck. So I have to take my neck under the arm of the opponent. So I will go like that and I will move it like that.
My name is Gunsbir Singhal.
And how old are you?
I'm 9. If you get the opponent down, you get 2 points. That's why I did it.
How did it feel?
I love doing it. It's fun for me. I do it all the time when I'm wrestling.
My name is Jappreet Kabrar. I'm 9 years old.
Okay.
My name is Sahajka Mahal and I'm also 9 years old.
You girls are wrestling. So tell me, what do you like about wrestling?
I like that it teaches me self-defense for my own future life. And I like that I get to wrestle with other people and maybe I could go to the Olympics.
So you want to go to the Olympics one day?
Maybe someday I can become a coach like my coach. When I first started, it was only boys and then girls started appearing. I like to do double leg.
Double leg? What about you?
I like to do duck under.
Duck under, okay. Could you show us what a duck under is on your friend?
Okay, you go under the armpit and then to the back and then take your leg. Try to get to the opponent's back. Our coach speaks Punjabi because we're all Indian here, but if you want to join, it's your choice. It doesn't matter if your culture is here. It's your choice.
That was CBC's Jim Agapito at the Wrestling with Skills Club in Winnipeg. And if you're watching on our YouTube live stream, that tuck under, that's a cool move. I want to learn that. I'll do it to my sister or something. Who knows? You're listening to Information Radio. Got time for a song here from Winnipeg singer-songwriter Fontaine. She has a new album on the way. Good Buddy is the follow-up to her 2023 EP, Yarrow Lover, and it's their first full album. Here's the title track, Good Buddy.
Tomorrow we'll climb up to a cliff. My head's a bit crazy, but I know it's fine by your side. Gentle morning, mumble talking. Late rainy night, cold walking. With your end in mine, it's hard to reset all the time. So cover me up, spin me around, tell me you're not gonna leave. But taking it slow, but I already know you're a good buddy to me. Swaying in your living room, you already know that I love you. Let's go where the sea meets the sky.
Out of Winnipeg, that was Fontaine with Good Buddy. Her debut album of the same name comes out in October.
If it happened today, find out today. That's the power of having the news in your hand. Get late-breaking news from reporters across the country, straight to your mobile device. Customize your experience with news from your region and what matters to you. Whether it's big headlines, detailed articles, live events, or on-demand video, CBC News has got you covered. Connect to the world. Download the free CBC News app or visit cbcnews.ca.
As wildfires impact our province, keep up to date with CBC. For the latest information, listen to CBC Radio 1. Visit cbc.ca/Manitoba or the CBC News app. For people who have a limited data plan or are running into spotty mobile service on the road, visit cbc.ca/lite. That's cbc.ca/LITE.
And speaking of wildfires, I do want to take some time just to talk about air quality across the province. We do have an air quality warning in effect for much of central and northern Manitoba. This includes Barons River, Poplar River, Flin Flon, Thompson, Norway House, Island Lake, Lynn Lake, Brochet, Tuduli Lake, Gillam, Shamattawa, and Churchill. However, the air quality warning has ended for the PAW. We also have a special air quality statement. So a statement is 7+, where the warning is at 10 or 10+. So the special air quality statement is in place for Bassett, Victoria Beach, Nopaming Provincial Park, and Pine Falls. However, the special air quality statement has ended for Grand Rapids. Winnipeg, currently not under any air quality warnings or statements. The Air Quality Health Index here in the city is sitting at a 3, which does indicate a low risk. Still to come on Information Radio, a conversation with Bucky Dreger of Royal Canoe. He'll join us to share memories of his late bandmate Brendan Berg and his partner Olivia Michalchuk, who died just over a month ago following a highway collision. That conversation is coming up just after the World This Hour, around 8:10. But first, a Winnipeg man, as you've been hearing in the news, has been sharing his frustration with how stolen bicycles are recovered in the city after his own bike was stolen. Despite registering his bike on the city's bike registry, placing an AirTag tracker on it, and notifying police, he says he still hasn't been able to recover it. His name is Lewis. CBC has agreed not to share Lewis's last name as his bike was stolen near his child's daycare, and he says he's concerned for his family's safety. Here he is speaking with CBC's Mike Arsenault.
Yeah, the bike is like a Marin Wildcat Trail, I think it was. It's bright teal with like orange accents. So it's a fairly like bright seeable bike. Got like a bunch of accessories on it. So it's got V60 pedals on it. It's got rear rack on it. It's got, a headlight on it and stuff that, makes it kind of mine. I went home. I had the vehicle at work, but I went home, picked up my bicycle, went and picked up my kiddo at daycare, and we do this twice a day. We're in and out in, 3 to 5 minutes. Leave the bike at the bike rack next to his bicycle, run inside, change his shoes, come back upstairs, and my bike was gone from the bike rack. I do have a tracker on it, so I immediately pulled up just my Find My, so like an AirTag. I decided to put one on because last year I also had a bike stolen. That was out of the backyard. So pull it up. It was only a couple blocks away. The thief left their bicycle at the school, and which was kind of half falling apart. Rode 2 blocks, and the AirTag wasn't quite updating. It was updating here and there, but went back to the school, and then went back home, grabbed a vehicle, and then we kind of drove around chasing the AirTag. It went down Waterfront, and then it was at Disraeli, and didn't want to really approach anyone with my son in the vehicle, but the house did have like a foyer, so I went up to the foyer, looked to see if the bicycle was maybe just sitting in there. A fellow came out and kind of asked if I needed anything, and I discussed, hey, well, I kind of have a bike on a tracker that is showing at this location. And he was like, oh, well, my roommate just kind of bought a bike today. And that fellow came out and said, yeah, I bought a bike. And I had mentioned that it was like teal and orange in color. And they mentioned, yeah, that sounds like the bike I have or I had bought today. And then he had mentioned that he just kind of wanted his money back, that he had paid for it. And I said, yeah, I'll be there. I just got to go get some cash. I'll be back in 20 minutes. So, you know, it's someone that does have my bike, and I met him, seemed like legit. We didn't, you know, shake hands. We gave a little fist bump, see you in 20 minutes. And to not be seen again, or came back a few times throughout the evening, and he never came back. So, the bike's been kind of moving around like the Dufferin, Disraeli area the last week or so, and just updated again that it's at on Main Street.
And then it's just been moving around. It's still moving around even as we speak.
Yeah, I just got an update a couple minutes ago, and it hadn't had an update for almost 24 hours. So that's kind of interesting.
Did you file a police report, and if you did, how did that go?
I did file a police report. Of course, they tell you to submit it online. So it was submitted online. I put on the police report that there is a tracker on it, and I gave the address that it was currently at, which was at the time was at the Disraeli residence. Yeah, I have not heard anything from the WPS yet. I mean, it's a little defeating and deflating, but like, especially when you are tracking it, you talk to someone who has it and you offer them money for it, and you're putting yourself in danger in order to get this property back, and it doesn't feel great. Yeah, it can be complicated. You know, we're trying to go camping this weekend, and it's with a bunch of people with bikes, and now I don't have a bike.
That was CBC's Mike Arsenault speaking with Louis about his bike, which was stolen last week, and my apologies for mispronouncing his name earlier. CBC reached out to the Winnipeg Police Service for a response. The WPS said it received an online report about a stolen bike after the incident occurred and was informed of the possible location due to the AirTag attached to the bike. The information was forwarded to the Bicycle Recovery Program, and the bike's serial number was entered as stolen. Online reports are not routed, says the WPS, to the Communications Centre and are not dispatched to frontline officers. Police say each report is reviewed, triaged, and forwarded to the appropriate investigative unit for a follow-up. The report has been handed to the Property Crimes Unit. Winnipeg Police also say people should not attempt to recover stolen property themselves. If someone knows the location of their stolen property, they can call the non-emergency line. And for more on this story, you can visit our website at cbc.ca/Manitoba. We turn now to Heather Wells with news headlines.
Good morning. Wildfire evacuees say Winnipeg's congregate shelter is getting too crowded. Nisitchewaisit Cree Nation expects most of its residents to end up at RBC Convention Centre. Nicole Woodhart says staying at the shelter is getting harder, especially for young children. She says it is cold and no one has come to speak with them to offer any help. Clothing retailer YM is set to take over 5 former Saks Fifth stores in Canada, including one in Winnipeg. The $5 million deal includes the now empty space at the Outlet Mall in southwest Winnipeg. Neither the company nor the Outlet Mall says exactly how that empty space is going to be used. I'll be back with more Manitoba News coming up at 8:30.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Heather. Pardon me. You're listening to Information Radio on CBC Radio 1. I'm Chloe Friesen. Coming up in the next hour of the show, the music and arts community rallied to support the friends, family, and bandmates of Royal Canoe bassist Brendan Berg and his partner Olivia Michaelchuk after they died following a highway collision early last month. Bucky Dreger of Royal Canoe will join us to share stories, music, and a simple way Winnipeggers can pay tribute to the two beloved community members. That story is coming up on Information Radio. Stay with us. World Report is next.
today on Q.
I'm Garvey Bailey, sitting in for Tom Power. Juno award-winning DJ and producer Bambi is known for the way she melds electronic music with her Caribbean roots. She'll be here to tell us her story and share some new music.
Q, this morning at 10:30 in Newfoundland, and on the CBC Listen app, or wherever you get your podcasts. The CBC News is next. Coming up in half an hour, it's The Current.
I'm Sean Henry. 2025 has been a tumultuous year in terms of figuring out what we can expect from the Canadian economy, and that's not likely to stop anytime soon. What trade deals could mean for your finances, coming up on The Current.
This is World Report. Good morning, I'm Sam Sampson. Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne and Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand are headed to Mexico City. They'll use today and tomorrow to improve Canada's economic partnership with Mexico. This comes at a time when both countries are locked in tense trade negotiations with U.S. President Donald Trump. Mexico has won a short reprieve from new U.S. tariffs, but Canada and many other countries have not. It now appears those tariffs are starting to affect U.S. businesses and consumers. As Mike Crawley reports from Washington, the effects can be seen from corporate headquarters to the local cafe.
Roughly 1/3 of all coffee imports to the U.S. comes from Brazil. So U.S. President Donald Trump's threat to impose 50% tariffs on that country's products has coffee shop owners like John Kinnard wondering if they'll need to hike prices.
A typical coffee shop margin is only about 5%. And now with this, we're going to have to get really creative.
It's just one way Trump's tariffs are beginning to bite here in the U.S. Companies from tech giant Apple to tool makers Stanley Black & Decker say they expect tariff costs this year in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Manufacturers of everything from shampoos to shoes are raising prices, and the latest stats on jobs and inflation are showing the effects. Still, Trump's view of the tariffs remains rosy.
We have a lot of money coming in, hundreds of billions of dollars.
I just don't think most people are going to be fooled by that.
Alex Durante is senior economist at the Tax Foundation, a policy think tank in Washington.
I think the administration is going to have a really hard time trying to convince the American people that some of the price increases they're seeing are because of other factors not related to the tariffs.
Trump's tariffs on imports from dozens of countries are due to rise this week from their current baseline of 10%. Unless businesses swallow all the extra costs, American consumers can expect price hikes to spread. Mike Crawley, CBC News, Washington.
The U.S. Coast Guard says the Titan submersible accident was entirely preventable. 5 people died when the sub imploded during a dive to the Titanic in June 2023. The Coast Guard has just released its report. It says OceanGate failed to follow established engineering protocols for safety, testing, and maintenance. It also says the company leveraged intimidation tactics and its favorable reputation to evade regulatory scrutiny. The report finds OceanGate was ultimately able to operate the Titan completely outside of established deep-sea protocols. Well, U.S. President Donald Trump's political opponents could soon be the subject of a federal investigation. His Attorney General, Pam Bondi, has ordered justice officials to probe an earlier investigation done by Obama-era officials. It was during the 2016 presidential election when there were allegations Russia interfered in the campaign to help Trump. Tom Perry is following the story from Washington. Tom, what do we know about this new investigation ordered by Trump's Attorney General?
She's reportedly directed the Justice Department to begin legal proceedings and ordered a federal prosecutor to present evidence to a grand jury. Right now, though, it's unclear what charges this could lead to and who could face them. This, of course, comes after Donald Trump's Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, released a report last month. She alleged that intelligence about Russian meddling in the 2016 election had been politicized by former President Barack Obama. She accused Obama and his national security team of a years-long coup against Trump. Here's some of what Gabbard said at the time.
There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false.
Donald Trump, of course, went even further. He accused Obama of treason. Obama's office issued a response calling those allegations outrageous and bizarre, and Democrats point out that a bipartisan Senate investigation concluded that Russia did try to influence the 2016 U.S. vote.
But why is this happening now?
Well, Russia's involvement in the 2016 election has always been a sore spot for Donald Trump. He's always called it a hoax that was cooked up to smear him, but this push on Russia also comes at a time when Trump is facing continuing questions about his relationship with the notorious sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and his administration's refusal to release evidence related to that case.
Tom Perry reporting from Washington. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
In Brazil, supporters of Jair Bolsonaro are showing their support for the former president. They rallied outside his home last night, shouting "Brazil will stop," after a Supreme Court judge placed Bolsonaro under house arrest. Bolsonaro is on trial, facing charges that he conspired with dozens of allies to overturn his 2022 electoral loss. The judge says he has not complied with a restraining order imposed on him last month when he was deemed a flight risk. That judge has been sanctioned by the Trump administration. The U.S. president calls Bolsonaro's trial a witch hunt. And last night, the U.S. State Department said it condemns the order to put Bolsonaro on house arrest. Well, Canadians looking for relief from the wildfires and smoke threatening their communities may find a little bit of hope in the weather forecast. Johanna Wagstaff has the latest.
We're waking up to very different fire weather conditions across the country today. The good news for both coasts is that temperatures are not extreme. It's the prairies that continue to bear the brunt of the heat. In Newfoundland, particularly around Conception Bay, wind is the big story. Gusty conditions are expected to continue as a front moves through, and temperatures will actually dip through the day before rebounding on Wednesday. But those variable and at times strong winds will remain a concern, especially for the active wildfire. On the west coast, the weather pattern is starting to shift. Vancouver Island could see a few millimeters of rain on Wednesday. Not much, but it could help in areas dealing with extremely dry fuels. Unfortunately, conditions turn dry again midweek. And smoke continues to be a major story for millions. Air quality remains poor Tuesday morning, especially in and around the Toronto area, after some of the worst global rankings for pollution to start the week. The source is wildfires burning across Saskatchewan and Manitoba. The smoke from those blazes has triggered air quality alerts stretching from the prairies through Ontario and even into parts of Newfoundland. There may be a shift midweek as the jet stream starts to nudge north. That could bring some improvements to parts of Ontario, but the southern branch of the jet stream may continue to trap smoke over the region right through to the end of the week. Johanna Wagstaff, CBC News, Vancouver.
Well, it has been a hot, dry summer across much of the country, and eastern Ontario has not been spared. Farmers say crop yields are down and they need rainfall to rebound. The CBC's Isabel Harder reports.
This is it. That's it? Okay. Farmers market stalls like this one in Ottawa are a little emptier this year. A lack of significant rainfall in the last month has left eastern Ontario farmers struggling.
Last few weeks have been very dry.
Dan Christolitis' farm, about 50 kilometers south of Ottawa, would be in the thick of tomato harvest around this time.
We've only harvested 6 pints this past week out of the 300 cherry tomato plants we have.
Environment Canada says rainfall in July was half the seasonal average for the area, and that's left farmers making tough decisions. Brandy Jackson owns Fly Creek Farm, about 100 kilometers south of Ottawa.
It's kind of picking the ones that are the most important and leaving the other ones just to succumb.
It's a choice farmers across the country have had to grapple with. Prairie farms have been experiencing annual droughts, and much of Agriculture Canada's drought monitor shows the country as drier than normal. In eastern Ontario, several conservation authorities and rural municipalities have issued advisories, urging residents to conserve water because it could become an issue. But as the season progresses, Christolitis says there's not much else he can do.
As a farmer, and you just kind of carry on and roll with the punches.
There are only a few scattered showers forecasted in the area this week, and according to Agriculture Canada's drought outlook, things will get worse before they get better. Isabel Harder, CBC News, Ottawa.
Today, the World Report team is remembering our colleague Joan Leechman. She died suddenly this past weekend. For years, Joan helped us bring the world to you. She worked with us in Toronto, but filed stories about South and Central America and Africa, stories she thought were too important to miss. Before she worked at World Report, Joan was the Latin American bureau chief for CBC Television, and she opened CBC Radio's first bureau in Africa. That's where she covered the Rwandan genocide and South Africa's violent transition from apartheid. In recent years, Joan opened her Toronto home to give shelter to refugees, and she reminded us all, you don't have to be heartless to bear witness to the hard parts of history. That is your latest national and international news from World Report. I'm Sam Sampson. This is CBC News.
Good morning, Manitoba. I'm Chloe Friesen. You're listening to Information Radio on CBC Radio 1. .3 FM, 990 AM on YouTube or anywhere on your CBC Listen app. Thanks for joining us this morning. Coming up on the show, the music and arts community have rallied to support the friends, families, and bandmates of Royal Canoe bassist Brendan Berg and his partner Olivia Michalchuk after they died following a highway collision early last month. Bucky Dreger of Royal Canoe will join us to share stories, music, and a simple way Winnipeggers can pay tribute to two beloved community members. That conversation is coming up first on Information Radio. But first, it's time for news headlines with CBC's Heather Wells.
Good morning. Well, Nisitchawaisak Cree Nation evacuees say there isn't enough room for all of them at Winnipeg's RBC Convention Centre. More than 1,500 people were forced out over the long weekend as nearby wildfires threatened the only road into their community. Nicole Woodhart is staying at the congregate shelter set up at the convention centre, and she says it is getting too crowded, it is cold, and she says it's unsafe for her children. A man whose bike was stolen is having a hard time getting it back, even though it has an air tracker. Louis has watched his bicycle travel all over downtown Winnipeg by using his Find My app. His app says the bike is sitting at a hotel on Main Street, but he doesn't think it's safe to get on his own. We'll hear more of his story coming up in our next local news at 8:30.
Thank you very much, Heather.
Thank you.
That is CBC's Heather Wells. Hello, and thank you to the team this morning on Information Radio. Brad Lillies is our YouTube live stream producer. Sierra Sanders is our show director, and Abby Adiemi, our technical producer, also keeping an eye on the forecast for us.
It's smoke and heat across the province, and the northern part of the province pretty warming up fast as we speak. Winnipeg right now 19 degrees. We're seeing 20 in some parts of the city. Mainly clear skies. The sun is out. We start off warm and sunny, but things will gradually shift through the day. Today, expect a mix of sun and clouds with temperatures climbing close to 27, 28 degrees, and with the humidity factored in, it's going to feel around 33, 34. Tonight, we'll see some clouds roll in, a few showers expected in the evening, and the risk of thunderstorms to come with that. And that will roll even into the overnight period to tomorrow morning. Across the southern regions, we're already seeing temperatures in the 20s. We're going to see a mix of sun and clouds throughout the day. Highs will be around 27, 28 in most of the regions, and that humidity will be around 33, 34. In the northern part of the province, the powerful in front Thompson Churchill, smoke still remains a major concern. Poor air quality, reduced visibility. Temperatures, we're already seeing temperatures also up north in the 20s. Highs will get to 29, and the humidity will be around 36, 37 in most of the regions up north. But remember, air quality warning still remains in effect for central and the whole of the northern part of the province this morning, so you need to take care. Winnipeg right now 19 degrees, and we're warming up to 27.
Thank you very much, Abby.
Thank you.
And Sierra is ready to take your calls on the commuter line. If anything on your commute is slowing you down or getting in your way this morning, you can call her at 204-788-3093. The time is 8:14. You're listening to Information Radio. July was a month of grieving and gathering for the friends and families of Brendan Berg and Olivia Michalchuk. The two Winnipeggers were deeply embedded in the city's music and arts scene. Berg played in many bands, was most well known as the bassist for local band Royal Canoe. His partner, Olivia Michalchuk, was a dedicated community planner, co-founder of local arts podcast Paper Cut, and a Polaris Music Prize judge. The couple died in a highway collision on Canada Day. Bucky Dreger is a member of Royal Canoe. He joined me in the studio last week to share some memories and music.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks for making the time. Tell me about your friends, Brendan and Olivia.
Oh, I mean, I could tell stories for days, but both just incredible lights and supports and fans and cheerleaders and steady presences in all of our lives. And I think like the one thing that keeps coming up as we talk about them and remember them amongst our friends is just like they showed up like in a physical way, in an emotional way. They wanted to make sure their friends were okay. I think Olivia was like a little more forward with that than Brendan, but Brendan was just one of those people that you knew you could always count on. He was steady. You knew he was in your corner, and you just knew someone always had your back, and he was always so excited to talk to you about whatever you were interested in at the time, or he didn't have any boundaries in terms of like meeting a brand new weirdo on the road and just like picking up a 15-minute conversation about whatever they were into and really giving them time and attention and care.
How's the rest of the band doing?
It's, I don't know if there's an easy answer. It's for sure. It's been a roller coaster of feelings, and there's just like no way around it just being the worst. There's no like nice bow to tie on it. It sucks and it's the worst. But also like it's been also just overwhelmingly encouraging how many people have been showing up for each other in this process, and just like in the same way kind of Brendan and Olivia did for us, like people showing up for each other, giving each other lots of space, checking in on each other, giving people soft places to land if they're having a tough day or just like need dinner or need a bonfire to go hang out at or whatever. The vastness of the community they touched in Winnipeg and beyond is really being shown here in this last month. People are really making sure that everyone's okay.
And that was really made clear. I know that there was a community event put on at the Burton Cummings Theatre. What was that like? Like, how many people kind of showed up in that space?
Yeah, the Burt was more or less rammed. Like, we were up into the second balconies. Matt Peters made the joke in his tribute, like, Brendan and Olivia would be laughing right now knowing they sold more tickets to the Burt than Royal Canoe ever could. But it was, aside from it just being an overwhelming amount of people wanting to pay respects and honor them, it just was a real sign of how many circles they ran in, how many facets of this local community they touched and were a part of and were like truly like really invested in and wanted to celebrate and trumpet. And like, they were both very proud of the art and culture and just our city as a whole and wanted people to know that. And so you saw the breadth of their influence in that room.
So many of the tributes that I've read and that I've heard have described them as people who were somehow everywhere in so many different communities and offering to help with so many events and causes. And one of the obviously the legacies that will be left is the music, right? Totally. And you sent over a song, a Royal Canoe song, "Raise." You say it's one that really showcases Brendan in a way. So we're gonna listen to a little bit of it here, and then we'll talk about it more.
Line on the fault line, where you let
hear when you listen to that song and you think about Brendan?
That one seems just like, yeah, quintessentially Brendan bass song. Like we had a lot of like wacky ideas in Royal Canoe on Royal Canoe Records, and sometimes I think to Brendan's chagrin, we were like trying to like do things that bass shouldn't be doing or whatever. I don't know.
You're challenging him with the bass lines or just the ideas?
I could say it's a challenge, but he just grabbed everything so smoothly and ran with everything so smoothly. But this one feels like a really true Brendan bass line to me. It's like, it's infinitely groovy. It's really, really steady, and it really like locks together the sort of jigsaw puzzle of all the other sonic stuff going on. And I'm going to make that a metaphor because that's just like truly indicative of Brendan's sort of like emotional and spiritual role in the band as well. He was someone that was like a connective thread for all of us. And he was someone who was really steady that you could count on, and really you could just like always trust him to show up, to do his best and be his best and be a good person and a good friend. So that just steadiness, but also with a little bit of swagger.
So much swagger in that song. And then the music scene, the music community here has really rallied. I know if folks were at the Winnipeg Folk Fest and they were lucky enough to see Begonia's main stage set, they would have seen that she brought the whole band out on stage to perform Fussin'. What was that moment like?
Yeah, it was a really hard but special and in retrospect important moment.
It's
I think
interesting because the song's a party in itself.
Yeah, we didn't want to come up and just like Brendan and Olivia like they showed up at everything because they were so full of just like joie de vivre. They wanted to experience things and they wanted to be in community and be around people. So it felt like just like a fitting way to honor them. And like, you know, Begonia and that whole Begonia crew is like Royal Canoe extended family. And so to have her invite us up meant a lot. To us, it was, I think, that's like what we all know how to do when we're feeling stuff, is like make music and play music and share music with people. And so to have her invite us up to just like do the thing we all know how to do, to honor them was really special. And then just kind of being able to do that thing with my brothers in the band and have some good hugs and cries after and just be together was really special.
And so as artists, you're doing what you know how to do. You're making music. You're paying tribute to them in that way. But you've also, you and the band have created this way for other people to do something in honor of Brendan and Olivia, and that's a blood drive. How did that come about?
Yeah, that kind of came from Olivia's mom had blood donations, gave Olivia's parents enough time to say goodbye. And so that was something she asked if we could sort of help. And it's been some sort of like tangible, actionable thing that we can like throw our love for them into and hopefully, you know, make some sort of impact. So I think I checked this morning, there's like 230 plus units of blood that have already been donated in their name. I was there this weekend and it just felt like just in a time where it feels like, what do you do with this? It's not like answering everything, but it's something to do, and just like hoping that can be helpful in the same way it was for Olivia.
We're gonna end with music because that is such a big part of your relationship to Brendan and Olivia. And you provided us with a song. It's Gold Day by Sparkle Horse. So we're going to play that following this interview here. But why was that a song that you think that people should hear in this context when we're talking about them?
I mean, this one's just like a personal one for me and probably for the rest of the band too. This is a record that Brendan introduced to us on the road. He logged a lot of hours driving our van, him and Michael especially, and he was great at like curating these moments on the road. Like he always knew how to sort of pick music for the vibe, the like sunlight, like where we were in whatever country, and I just in my brain I'm picturing him behind the wheel. And it's like maybe dusk or just getting into nighttime, and he's popped this record on. And when he passed, this was like the first thing I put on. And oy, oy, oy. The lyrics also just like kind of really spoke to how I was feeling in the moment and how I feel about my friends. And so it just feels like a fitting song.
We're going to play that song. And Bucky, again, sorry for your loss. Thank you for spending time with us here and sharing some memories of Brendan and Olivia.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. And just go to royalcanoe.com/blood drive if you do want to join up with the sort of formal blood drive donation team. It's fun to celebrate together, but also like no need to do that. Just like please go give blood. It's something a lot of us could do, or drive a friend there if you can't, or whatever. We'd really appreciate y'all doing that.
Thank you.
Good morning, my child. Stay with me a while. You're not got any place to be. Won't you sit a spell with me? You've got diamonds for eyes. It's time for you to rise and evaporate in the sun. Sometimes it can weigh a ton. Keep all your cries away. Hold skinny wounds at bay. In silver piles and spires. May all your days be gold, my child. A necklace of leaves, spirits and the trees, and drown all the clocks till there's none. Little Indian in the sun, keep all your cries away. Hold skinny wounds at bay. In silver piles of smiles, may all your days be gold, my child. Good morning, my child. Stay with me a while and evaporate in the sun. Sometimes it can weigh a ton. Keep all your cries away.
That song, Gold Day by Sparkle Horse, dedicated this morning to Brendan Berg and Olivia Michaelchuk, chosen by Bucky Dreger of Royal Canoe. Thanks to Bucky, who joined us earlier in the studio. For more information on the blood drive in honor of Brendan and Olivia, you can go to royalcanoe.com/blood drive. That's royalcanoe.com/blood drive. Right now in Winnipeg, 19 degrees at the Forks. Could see some rain this evening. We'll get more details on that from Abby. But first, Marjorie Dowhouse joins me in the studio for a sneak peek at Radio Noon. Good morning.
How about turning on the mic?
That always helps.
A long
We've
weekend.
all done it.
Yes. Hi, Chloe. So today we're talking about bugs. Why? Well, because a lot of people have been buzzing about mosquitoes, wasps, and we also found out, too, that there are some bugs that are attracted to smoke.
Really?
Yes.
You would think that it would drive most bugs away.
Yes, but changes in vegetation, changes in climate are attracting some bugs. We'll find out a little bit more. If you have a question about bugs, I mean, we've had call-ins about plants and about birds, but if you have a question about bugs, give us a call this afternoon after 12:30.
I love this summer call-in series so much. It's so fascinating. Okay, I'm going to come up with a bug question for later.
Okay, sounds good, Chloe.
Thank you, Marge.
Okay, thank you.
That is Marjorie Dowhouse. Radio Noon kicks off at 12 o'clock. It's time now for local news with Heather Wells.
This is CBC News. Good morning. I'm Heather Wells in Winnipeg. At 8:30, it is 19 degrees. We're going to see a high today of 27. The humidex, 33. And there is a good chance we'll see showers later this evening. Wildfire evacuees say Winnipeg's congregate shelter is getting too crowded. Nisitchewayasik Cree Nation is expecting most of its residents to end up at RBC Convention Centre because of a lack of hotel space. Nicole Woodhart says staying at the shelter is getting harder, especially for young children.
It's really hard to just sit around and wait for nothing. Nobody's coming to talk to us. Nobody's offering us any help. I have to go and bug them and get mad at them for milk for my newborn. They don't have it. I've been asking, and I try to ask nicely, and that doesn't seem to get me anywhere.
People from the First Nation, also known as Nelson House, were ordered out over the long weekend as wildfires threatened the only road in and out of their community. More than 1,500 people left Nisitchewayasik by Sunday. Thousands more are still waiting to leave. A man whose bike was stolen is having a hard time getting it back, even though it has an air tracker. Louis has watched his bicycle travel all over downtown Winnipeg by using his Find My app. CBC News has agreed not to share his last name because his bike was stolen near his child's daycare and he is concerned for his family's safety. He has tried to find it himself and reported it to police, but Louis would like to see police help him recover his bike.
They're probably busy with bigger things than a $400 and $500 bike. I understand like one individual bike is not something that they should be pursuing, I guess, but at the same time, like I'm having to put myself in danger.
Louis' app says his bike's sitting at a hotel on Main Street, but he doesn't think it's safe to get on his own. Winnipeg police say the theft has been assigned to the Property Crimes Unit. Officers do not recommend people try to recover stolen property themselves. On Vancouver Island, the BC Wildfire Service says the Wesley Ridge Fire is now a wildfire of note. It is burning on the north side of Cameron Lake, northwest of Nanaimo. 134 wildfires currently are burning across BC, including one near Lytton. It has grown to more than 1,400 hectares. Evacuation orders are in place for 2 nearby First Nations. People in Newfoundland's Conception Bay North are evacuating their homes again. There have been at least 9 fires in recent months, including one in May that destroyed several homes. A mayor in the area, Curtis Delaney, says he thinks something suspicious is going on.
If you stack them up side by side, they're all almost cookie cutter. So that's what makes them definitely suspicious. And the area, I mean, it's confined within our town for the most part.
The RCMP say officers are investigating the cause of the fires, but did not answer questions about a potential of arson. A vacant department store in the Tuxedo area is getting a new tenant. Clothing retailer YM Inc. will buy 5 leases across Canada of former Hudson Bay Company locations. The $5 million deal includes the now empty Saks Off 5th space at the Outlet Mall in southwest Winnipeg. Following the closure of all Hudson's Bay stores in June, it still is unclear how other empty spaces left behind within the malls are going to be filled. Lauren Remillard at the Winnipeg Chamber of Commerce says he is confident these spaces will find new life soon.
What we've seen is taking these properties and dividing them into smaller units for businesses. Another, creating destinations for people to come to for things other than shopping. So more that experiential destination space, entertainment hubs, fitness hubs.
YM owns brands like Urban Planet, Blue Notes, West 49, and Sushi Shear. Neither the company nor the outlet mall will say exactly how the empty space is going to be used. And the U.S. Coast Guard says the Titan submersible accident was entirely preventable. 5 people died when the sub imploded during a dive to the Titanic in June of 2023. The Coast Guard this morning just released its report. It says OceanGate failed to follow established engineering protocols for safety, testing, and maintenance. The report finds OceanGate was ultimately able to operate the Titan completely outside of established deep-sea protocols. We will hear more on this report coming up in the next news at 9 o'clock. And you can find more Manitoba news updated throughout the day at cbc.ca/Manitoba.
Thank you so much for the morning, Heather.
Thank you.
That is CBC's Heather Wells. Sierra Sanders, show director, in the studio for one last look at the commute. Good morning.
Good morning. It's been quiet on the commuter line this morning, so things are moving smoothly from what folks can see out there on the roads. But just before we go, I wanted to remind folks about the Century Street construction zone that I've been talking about. So that construction zone stretches from Ellis Avenue to Saskatchewan Avenue there on Century. So 2 lanes are closed, so you are down to 1 lane there on northbound Century Street. So you can expect delays if you are heading that way. Took another quick look on the live Google map, and it is slow approaching Ellis, looking at that map. So be mindful if you are heading out that way, and be patient with your fellow commuters. Thanks for the morning, Chloe.
Yeah, thank you, Sierra. Abby Adiemi, one last look at the weather.
Smoke and haze dominating the northern half of the province, where we have poor air quality there, and of course the heat will get intense, while the southern part of the province will be seeing more of heat and humidity. We'll see rain in most of the regions today. The southern part of the province seeing temperatures close to 20 degrees at this point, warming to 27. Winnipeg, we are at 19 degrees right now, and it's going to get humid today.
Thank you, Abby. And thank you to our associate producer, Issa Kixon, Jim Agapito, news team, Heather Wells, Joni Nicolou, Josh Crabb, Bryce Hoy, Brad Lilly's on YouTube live streaming, Sierra Sanders, Abby Adiam, of course. I'm Chloe Friesen, filling in this week for Marcy Marcusa.